What sets AIR2 and AIR3 apart in UPSC CSE 2024? They didn't wait to feel ready. They started smart with the GS Foundation course at Vision IS Delhi. Structured learning, focused current affairs, real mentorship, test feedback that actually helps you grow. This course isn't just about study hours, it's about direction, clarity and the strategy toppers trust. Start strong. Start where toppers started.
UPSC preparation is not just about reading books or watching online lectures. It requires personal guidance, real discussions, and structured practice. This is where offline mentoring makes all the difference. Unlike online learning, where doubts often remain unresolved, offline mentoring offers direct interaction, real-time feedback, and an environment of discipline and competition. One-to-one sessions help students get tailored advice, strategy corrections, and focused improvement. Every aspirant has different strengths and weaknesses. Personal mentoring helps address them effectively. Ground discussions sharpen analytical thinking and help students develop a multi-dimensional perspective on issues crucial for prelims, mains, and interview. Elocution sessions help in personality development, clarity of thought, and confidence, essential for UPSC interviews. Test writing is the most crucial part of UPSC preparation. It helps in time management, structuring answers, and improving content quality. Offline mentoring is not just about teaching. It's about grooming future officers with the right guidance, discipline, and confidence. So if you are preparing for UPSC, make sure you have the right mentor by your side.
Are you still juggling newspapers, random notes, and endless PDFs trying to make sense of current affairs? Let's make your UPSC prep smarter. Introducing Digital Current Affairs Premium by Vision IAS, your all-in-one platform to read, revise, and write better every single day. Have a doubt from today's news or something in your syllabus? Just ask and get instant AI-powered answers that are concise, relevant, and completely aligned with the UPSC exam pattern. No more guesswork, no more confusion. Want to boost your mains writing skills? Practice daily with structured questions and get expert feedback to sharpen your content, clarity, and analysis, because writing well is winning half the battle. Need better revision? Use quick notes and highlights to save key points, mark important lines, and organize your current affairs in a way that actually works for you. And here's the best part, some of the most powerful tools are absolutely free. Daily news summaries from The Hindu, Indian Express, and more, curated, filtered, and exam ready. Downloadable PDFs so your notes stay organized and accessible. Daily quizzes and MCQs to reinforce what you've learned and track your progress. A smart student dashboard to monitor your performance and stay on top of your goals. Whether you're just starting or deep into your prep, Digital Current Affairs Premium adapts to your strategy and makes every minute count. So why prepare the hard way when you can prepare the smart way? Visit www.visionis.in/current-affairs and start transforming your current affairs prep today. Because with Vision IAS, you don't just stay updated, you stay ahead. UPSC CSE 2024 results are out and dreams have turned into ranks. Now you are asking, how do I get there? You've got the drive. What you need is the right guidance. Lakshya Integrated Mentoring Program 2026 by Vision IAS is your one-stop guidance program for prelims, mains, and interview. Smart, strategic revision for prelims and mains. Consistent mentorship with personalized feedback. Daily weekly schedule and practice targets. Custom test practice via Sandhan test series. Interview and personality test training. All of it structured to guide you, strategic to keep you focused, and designed to meet your evolving needs. New batch starts from 19th May. It's your turn now. Start strong with Lakshya Mentoring Program 2026.
What sets AIR2 and AIR3 apart in UPSC CSE 2024? They didn't wait to feel ready. They started smart with the GS Foundation course at Vision IAS Delhi. Structured learning, focused current affairs, real mentorship, test feedback that actually helps you grow. This course isn't just about study hours, it's about direction, clarity, and the strategy toppers trust. Start strong. Start where toppers started.
UPSC preparation is not just about reading books or watching online lectures. It requires personal guidance, real discussions, and structured practice. This is where offline mentoring makes all the difference. Unlike online learning, where doubts often remain unresolved, offline mentoring offers direct interaction, real-time feedback, and an environment of discipline and competition. One-to-one sessions help students get tailored advice, strategy corrections, and focused improvement. Every aspirant has different strengths and weaknesses. Personal mentoring helps address them effectively. Ground discussions sharpen analytical thinking and help students develop a multi-dimensional perspective on issues crucial for prelims, mains, and interview. Elocution sessions help in personality development, clarity of thought, and confidence, essential for UPSC interviews. Test writing is the most crucial part of UPSC preparation. It helps in time management, structuring answers, and improving content quality. Offline mentoring is not just about teaching, it's about grooming future officers with the right guidance, discipline, and confidence. So if you are preparing for UPSC, make sure you have the right mentor by your side.
So, hi, good evening. How are you? All good? So, last 3-year paper discussion and total 9 questions were there in last 3 year. And there's a very similar trend in last 3 year that one question, the very first question of the art and culture was 10 marker in each of the year 2022, 23 and so as in 24 also, and rest of the 2 questions were 15 marker. So though you will see that in GS paper 1 generally that 15 marker questions are very less than, but most of the time these 15 marker questions are either from this particular section or maybe from the society section. So chalo, so without wasting time, let's start with so fine, visible, give me 1 minute. So we'll start from, as you say, from 2024 or 2022, whichever way you want. Which question to be discussed first? Chalo 2024 से start करते हैं, ठीक है? And we'll go to the 2022. तो 2024 में last year भी ये question discussion किया था. This I created answer last year itself, but it is just an indicative answer of this portion. Before going into it, ठीक है, answer discussion तो करेंगे, but there are few things to be noted down that 3 year का paper 2 questions from Vedic period and 3 year का paper 2 questions from Cholas. Then, so if you just go through that mains paper only, and if you were solving this year prelims paper, I don't think that it was difficult question in the prelims paper. The 2 questions related to the Cholas were kind of where you can make sure that you can clear this exam. So easy questions थे. अगर जो पिछले पेपर का analysis किया है तो, then Vedic period also 2 questions were there, and temple architecture has been the focus in last 3 years. Then, so temple architecture, and in fact not just the temple architecture but different type of the specimens and the motifs which are created on temple architecture. So let's have a look at the 2024 question number 1. So this was 15 marker question, okay? and Pallava question which will follow next was a 10 marker. Uske baad wala question tha Cholas ka, that was a 15 marker. Then, so this question 250 words, 15 number ka. So underlying the changes in the society and economy of the Rigvedic to later Vedic period. Very simple, very straightforward question. Either you know or you don't know, but if I would say if you don't know, that's very bad, because this is something which is the easiest part from the culture that they can ask. So ऋग्वेदिक में कुछ लोग कंफ्यूज हो जाते हैं कि ऋग्वेदिक है या अर्ली वेदिक है. Vedas were composed in Vedic, early Vedic and later Vedic also. But the main composition of the Rig Veda is early Vedic period. So total 10 mandalas are there in Rig Veda, out of which the main composition, that is mandal number 2 to 7, was in early Vedic age. So many a times we refer early Vedic age as a later Vedic age also. Fine. So this is early Vedic to later Vedic, but they are not asking in classes from whichever place, whatever sources you have studied, you must have gone through in Vedic period that polity during Vedic period, economy during Vedic period, so as society and religious practices. So only two aspects have been asked in this question, very clear, underline kar lena, society and economy. So what was the society, what was the economy in early Vedic to later Vedic, and so as that early Vedic to later Vedic economy. So introduction, okay? Introduction you can mention as per your liking, as per your improvisation, that how beautifully you write in introduction. This is a matter of language also, that how well you summarize or how well you create a context of the introduction. But yes, if you are writing an introduction, that what you are going to write over here, the introduction must be beautiful, lyrical, rhyming, but at the same point of time simple. And apart from it, introductions, since it is a 15 marker question, so you have a leverage of writing 35 words at least. Minimum नहीं, maximum 35 words you can write in the introduction. उससे ज़्यादा लिखोगे तो वो essay का paragraph हो जाएगा. And so don't go beyond 35 words in 250 word question. So I would not give you introduction because obviously it is not a replica. I would say that, can you frame an introduction for this question? कैसे लिखोगे? You wrote the timeline 1500 to 6th century BC. So yeah, so you can start with this also, that 15th century BC was it was a pivotal moment in the Indian history whereby advent of Aryans has led to the new beginning in the form of the introduction of a Vedic culture. And so this way, and moreover you can further also add Vedic culture which we still embody in our daily lives. Then so kind of this way also you can mention. It depends on you that how well you are writing. But हमेशा ये याद रखना, किसी भी question का जब आंसर लिखते हो तो introduction is the opener, and it is your first impression to impress the examiner. So how well you're writing introduction, that creates some sort of I would not say prejudice, but then some sort of kind of a good view about you if it is good. And then onwards, what you're writing in the body part, that is important. So in exam, you don't have to complicate. You don't have to complicate. You simply have to go by societal changes. पहला heading लिखो, societal changes from early Vedic to later Vedic period. उसमें societal changes will mention further. And then second heading you will be writing that economic changes from early Vedic to later Vedic period. So this way you have classified it. Let's have a look at the societal changes then. So societal changes में first of all there is something, तो यहाँ पे क्या पूछा है, changes के बारे में पूछा है. What remained same लिख सकते हो, but अगर जो बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं लिखना है, जैसे आंसर फॉर्मेट लोगों ने दे रखे हैं, ठीक है, you must have seen on the online media also. So you have to write in 250 words, but the answers which are given on the social media, मतलब it's not wrong, but 550 words, तो उतना तो लिखना है नहीं. तो stick to the changes only. Then, so let me ask one by one. Maybe answer is there with you. So was there any change in the patriarchal norms of the society? Was No, there was no change. Society was patriarchal in early Vedic period. Society was patriarchal in later Vedic period. No change. Was there change in the position of women? Yes, there was a change. Then, so यहाँ पे तुम लिख सकते हो, ठीक है? So position of women में, so what all changes were there? In early Vedic society, women have the educational rights, political rights, ठीक है? And in political rights particularly, they were the parts of the Sabha, Samiti, ठीक है? Were they part of the Samiti or Vidhat? They were part of Sabha and Vidhat, not the Samiti. Then, so they were part of Sabha and Vidhat, and Sabha was the most decisive assembly. Then, जो सबसे important decisions लेता था. But then in later Vedic period, they were removed from the Sabha, and Vidhat completely disappeared. So there is a change in this one. Then, coming to the marriage aspect, okay? So in early Vedic period or Rigvedic period, were women allowed to go with the love marriage? Yes, they were allowed Gandharva Vivah. Then, so was there any change in the later Vedic period? Yes, they were not allowed to go with the Gandharva Vivah. Love marriages were no more encouraged. Then, what about the educational rights to the women? Was there any change? No change. Educational discourses were open to the women in early Vedic period also and in later Vedic period also. For example, in early Vedic period, the good example was the Lopmudra, who was wife of Agastya Rishi, and she was involved in many compositions, involved in writing many compositions also, and then so as she was involved in many intellectual discussions also. In the later Vedic period, we do come across, we often discuss about it, Vidushi Gargi, who had a very important discussion and debate with the Yagyavalkya. Then, so educational discourses were open to the women. Then, changes कहाँ हुए थे? Polity में and marriage के aspect में. Child marriage or widow remarriage में there was no change. So widow remarriage was still happening, and widow remarriage was there in the early Vedic also, later Vedic also. So there is some deterioration in the position of the women. But एक बात लिख सकते हो that in early Vedic period women were accorded very high respect in the society, but slow मत लिखना, gradual deterioration in the position of the women can be very much witnessed in the later Vedic period. So this is what is the position of the women in society. Then what else? What about the slavery? Was there any change in from early Vedic to later Vedic period? It was very much there. Then the slavery was very much there. Then उसके अलावा that what all other things we have mentioned, that sacrificial rituals, ठीक है? So sacrificial rituals में there is a slight change. Gods were changed, उसको religion, हाँ, socio-religious में लिख लेंगे. So anthropomorphic gods, ठीक है, were now replaced by the Tridev, ठीक है? So importance of the Tridev has emerged. Who were the anthropomorphic gods? And Agni, ठीक है, Varun and Indra, Som, Mitra, ठीक है? So these gods, they were the representation of the elements of the nature. Anthropomorphic god का मतलब ही यही होता है कि nature का कोई force जिसको भगवान का नाम दे दिया, ठीक है? So for example, Agni was the god of the fire. Then, so similar way. So there were changes because their importance have declined, and now what has happened, that their importance have declined and more importance is given to the Tridev. Then apart from it, and Prajapati Brahma, who is considered as, now he is considered as the creator of the universe in the later Vedic age. फिर उसके बाद then sacrificial rituals में ही अगर जो बात करें तो in which period animal sacrifice used to be more, early Vedic or later Vedic? It was later Vedic, ठीक है? Because ritual sacrifices like Ashwamedha, Vajapeya and Rajasuya, ठीक है? So these are coming to the prominence during the later Vedic period. So more indiscriminate animal sacrifices were happening. But still, there is something which is common between them, that sacrificial rituals and performance of the yajanas used to be there in the early Vedic also and the later Vedic also. Religious practices and patriarchy already we mentioned. That patriarchy, that society was patriarchal in the Rigvedic age, and it remained patriarchal in the later Vedic age also. Coming to the next part, changes in the economy. So changes in the economy, cattle to agriculture. So now when we talk about the early Vedic period, so whenever you start with the advent of Aryans, very first thing that you go across is basically they were nomadic and pastoralist people who have arrived from Central Asia to India, Indian subcontinent to be very precise. And then after, their main occupation, economic occupation was cattle rearing. Then, so cattle was their most important wealth. Then, but there was secondary occupation also, which was basically that agricultural commodities like wheat and barley were produced then. So it was there, but it was not the most important economic wealth. And in early Vedic age, the battles were organized to secure more number of cattle, but in later Vedic age, it is changing. Later Vedic age, how it is changing, just understand that discovery of iron then, and discovery of iron from the two places in western UP, that is Jakhira and Atranjikheda. And then after with the iron, very sharp weapons were created and dense forest of the upper Gangetic area was cleared, and now very fertile land was available for agricultural purposes. Then, so aggressive agriculture is happening. Uske alawa, not only aggressive agriculture, but apart from it, that agriculturally fertile land became more important commodity, and it was referred as, this fertile land was referred as Rashtra in the later Vedic text. Then, so it was referred as Rashtra in later Vedic text, and that has become more important. Then, so iron uses has also changed the economy. That iron tools, weapons, armaments were created, and which is further giving advantage to the people who are using it then, and they are better at fighting with the enemies, adversaries. Then what about the metallic coins? So when did the metallic coins made appearance in Indian scenario? Very good, exactly. It is in the end of the later Vedic age, 6th century BC, and punch marked silver coin made appearance. Then uske pehle that coin, as such coins were not there. Then somehow that some gold type of the artifacts were there, but that these gold artifacts were called as nisk, and there is not much clarity it was coin or not. But the silver ones started to be called as karshapan. Then, so karshapan usage has started from this time. What about the change in the taxation? Was there any change in the taxation? So taxes, bhag and Bali, okay? So Bhag and Bali was there in early Vedic also and later Vedic period also. Then, so these are some of the changes which are there, and how you'll be ending this period or ending this question. इसका आंसर कैसे, conclusion कैसे लिखोगे? एक एक करके बोलो. Yes. How it is seen in contemporary times. You can write. Then okay, fine. So immediate. So it will be like that. You are writing a flag post for the what is coming next. Then, so what is coming next? That is also a very good way to end the answer. That you are writing that what is going to happen next, and how the early Vedic period, later Vedic period changes have provided a foundation for that new beginning. Then, so in fact, you can also mention about the reformation in the Indian society, that social religious reform in the 6th century BC, that indiscriminate animal sacrifice has also led to that progressive section of society coming up with the progressive reforms. Then, wo nahi, AC ka temperature thoda sa down karo. So, I don't know you're feeling heat or not. Then, so this way you can end this particular question. So history or art and culture के questions में context बहुत important है. If you know the context, basically if you know that what happened next, so it is, your job is easier, your task is easier, that you can write the next change as a end of the answer. Let's go into the second question. So अभी एक और क्वेश्चन है, आ रहा है अभी, वेट करो, ठीक है. 2 क्वेश्चन है ना, दूसरे वाले में पेट्रियार्की विल डिस्कस फर्दर मोर. सो नाउ कम टू द सेकंड क्वेश्चन. दिस वाज पल्लवास क्वेश्चन. ये 10 मार्कर था, 150 वर्ड. देन सो 10 मार्कर 150 वर्ड्स. नाउ यू सी, estimate the contribution of the Pallavas of Kanchi for the development of art and literature of South India. So Pallavas of Kanchi, they have specifically mentioned. Who are called as Pallavas of Kanchi? Mahendravarman onwards, 600 onwards. Originally, Pallavas were existing from 275 and they were the feudatories of the Satavahanas, but they were not the Pallavas of the Kanchi. Later on, Pallavas of Kanchi in 600 AD, they have emerged. So Mahendravarman onwards. So introduction में you can mention about it, and that when introduction में what you can mention from the previous period, एक बार फिर से timeline का काम आ जाता है that कि previous period में क्या था और previous period end होने के बाद what emerged. So what you can mention over here, that decline of the early Cholas then provided the space of the emergence of the two grand great dynasties of the South India, Pallavas and Chalukyas. Pallavas who emerged from Kanchi made you can say that made a huge contribution then art and literature of the southern India, which is as follows, kind of. So make it simple, keep it simple, ठीक है, बहुत ओवर कॉम्प्लिकेट करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, ठीक है. देन उसके बाद क्योंकि 150 वर्ड का क्वेश्चन है तो इतना टाइम भी नहीं है कि इतना कुछ लिखोगे, एंड जो भी लिखो अगर जो इन्फॉर्मेशन ज़्यादा डालना है तो फुल सेंटेंसेस का यूज़ तो नहीं करना होगा, ठीक है. सो व्हाट दे हैव आस्क्ड, अब यहाँ पे भी सिर्फ दो, डेवलपमेंट ऑफ आर्ट एंड लिटरेचर, दो हेडिंग्स में इसको डिवाइड कर लो. सो यू हैव टू बी वेरी फोकस्ड वाइल रीडिंग द क्वेश्चन कि क्वेश्चन में पार्ट्स क्या हैं जो हमें आंसर करने हैं और कीवर्ड्स क्या हैं. तो इसमें आर्ट एंड लिटरेचर, पहले आर्ट लिखो फिर उसके बाद देन लिटरेचर लिखो. सो लेट्स लुक एट द आर्ट. देन व्हेन इट कम्स टू द पल्लवास डेवलपमेंट of art. So first of all, Pallavas led the development of the rock cut architecture in the places called Mandagapattu, Mamandur, then so as Mahabalipuram and Kanchipuram. So these all places. So first they have started with the rock cut cave shrines which were known as Mantap. When you read the Dravid temple development, so you go through the stages. So Mantap getting transformed into Rath during the time of the Narsimhavarman, and that getting transformed into pure Dravid temple during the tenure of the Rajasimhavarman. And Dravid temple is the iconic temple style of southern India. Then, and the main feature, you don't have scope of writing so many features, even if you know. So you can mention that the main feature of the Dravid temple is the development of the tower called Viman, which is inclining tower, sometimes look pyramidal, but sometimes the base of the pyramid or base of the Viman could be rectangular or square also. So this way you can mention it. Then further you can write about in Mahabalipuram not only those Pandava Rathas, okay, Pancharathas dedicated to the Pandavas is created, but there is a very famous relief sculpture in Mahabalipuram. So what is relief sculpture? Relief का मतलब ये होता है कि only front part would be created. ये आर्ट एंड कल्चर के वर्ड्स हैं, ठीक है, ये अंग्रेजी वाला रिलीफ नहीं है. सो रिलीफ मीन्स दैट डॉर्सल पार्ट. सो व्हाट इज आवर पीठ का जो पार्ट होता है दैट इज डॉर्सल एंड दिस इज वेंट्रल. सो ओनली वेंट्रल पोर्शन इज क्रिएटेड. सो दैट्स व्हाट इज कॉल्ड एज द रिलीफ स्कल्पचर. सो इन दैट रिलीफ स्कल्पचर people come up with two stories, or basically that depiction, whatever be the depiction, उसके दो interpretations हैं. One interpretation is that sculpture is depiction of Rishi Bhagirathi bringing Ganga river to the earth. Then, and second depiction is that Arjuna's penance. Then, so Arjuna's penance, Arjun ka paschatap. Then, so but then there are humorous elements also, like a cat is also praying like the Arjuna. Then, so this depiction in the architecture part, but coming to the painting part. अब देखो ये पिछले साल मैं दिखा भी दूंगा इस पे, जब क्वेश्चन पेपर होने के बाद डिस्कशन हुआ था, ठीक है, पेपर होने के मुझे लग रहा है कि एक हफ्ते या ऐसे ही 10 दिन के अंदर डिस्कशन था. अब यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है महेंद्र वर्मन वॉज कॉल्ड एज विचित्र चित्त चित्रकार पुली, ठीक है. सो इस बार पेपर में देखो क्या पूछा था क्वेश्चन, महेंद्र वर्मन विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग दिस टाइटल्स आर रिलेटेड टू होम, ठीक है. उसमें 2-3 और टाइटल थे, गुणभद्र, ठीक है, देन चित्रकार पुली, विचित्र चित्त. सो इफ यू गो थ्रू द मेंस पेपर ऑल्सो हो सकता है प्रीलिम्स का कोई क्वेश्चन सॉल्व हो जाए, ठीक है. तो ही वॉज कॉल्ड ए चित्रकार पुली का मतलब होता है टाइगर अमंग द पेंटर्स, ठीक है. विचित्र चित्त मतलब क्यूरियस माइंड, ठीक है. सो ही वॉज अ क्यूरियस माइंड. देन his paintings are there in the Kailasna temple and Panmalai temple of the Tamil Nadu. Then, so he patronized, and what kind of paintings? Fresco mural paintings. Then, so fresco mural paintings on in these temples. Then coming to the literature part. अब literature पे आते हैं. So literature part में during what is the tenure of Mahendra Varman 600 onwards, ठीक है, 600 से 620 के बीच में. So this is also the time when that Sanskrit literature has gained prominence in the southern India also, and moreover Mahendra Varman last year जब ये question आया था तो ये part लोग नहीं लिख पाए in mains, then because nobody in the market, ठीक है, या जहाँ से भी पढ़ रहे हो, जिस किताब से भी पढ़ रहे हो, उसमें लिखा नहीं था. ये सच्चाई है, ठीक है. तो ये पार्ट डिफिकल्ट था, ये पार्ट इजी था, लोगों ने इसको लिखा, ये नहीं था. बट अब उसके बाद इस ईयर अगर जो इसमें से दिस मत्तविलास ऑल्सो वॉज गिवन इन द ऑप्शन दिस ईयर, देन तो इफ यू गो थ्रू दैट हिज लिटरेचर वॉज भागवत दज्जुका एंड मत्तविलास प्रहंस है, प्रहदन लिखा है मैंने, बाय महेंद्र वर्मन, एंड ही ऑल्सो promoted Sanskrit and Tamil. Apart from it, Alvars and Nayanar saints later on, okay, not at the time of the Mahendra Varman, but later on in the 7th, 8th century AD, when Alvars and Nayanar saints have emerged in South India and particularly from Tamil Nadu. So, जब भक्ति पढ़ते हो तो पढ़ते हो तमिल नाडु से ये saints emerge हुए. So, they were writing many such poems in the praise of the Lord Shiva and the Lord Vishnu. Then, so this was all happening under the patronage of the Pallavas. They went on to wrote Nalaira Divya Prabandham. Even Tirukural of Tamil literature was written during the Pallava period. And Dandin was a famous Sanskrit scholar who was in the court of the Narasimha Varman, and Dandin has written Avanti Sundari. So these are the parts of it. ठीक है. अब इसमें tell me what way you will be concluding. Conclusion मुझे हमेशा तुमसे ही जानना है, then that how you'll be concluding in the Pallavas question. You can add, obviously. Vatapi, yes, Vatapi Kondi title he has taken. You can write, ठीक है. ये तो देखो, सी दैट व्हाट यू नीड टू, मतलब लास्ट डे हमने जो डिस्कशन किया था, इन्फॉर्मेशन डंपिंग नहीं होना चाहिए, ठीक है. समटाइम्स व्हेन यू राइट मोर इन 150 वर्ड क्वेश्चन, सो इट बिकम्स इन्फॉर्मेशन डंपिंग. एंड इन्फॉर्मेशन डंपिंग में क्या होता है कि आवर कॉन्सेंट्रेशन इज लाइक कि जैसा तुम्हारा कॉन्सेंट्रेशन वैसे इवेल्युएटर का भी कॉन्सेंट्रेशन नहीं होता है, ठीक है. तो वो चित्रगुप्त से आशीर्वाद लेके नहीं आया होता है कि उसको सब कुछ दिखेगा. तो होता क्या है कि वो भी, वी ऑल आर प्रोन टू दैट ह्यूमन एरर पार्ट. देन सो concentration is not very well, even if you write more, even if you do the more information dumping, so maybe sometimes they will not be able to look at it. Then तो इसलिए कि जो विजिबल हो, वेल रिप्रेजेंटेड हो, उसके थ्रू जाओ, ठीक है, वो करो. बट मेक अ नोट ऑफ इट कि 150 वर्ड क्रॉस मत करना. वैसे स्कोप ही नहीं होता है, तुमने एग्जाम दिया है, यू नो इट, देन दैट स्कोप ही नहीं होता है कि यूपीएससी अपने आंसर शीट में बहुत कम जगह होती है. उसके लिए इफ़ यू आर गोइंग विद अ वेरी स्मॉल फॉन्ट, then you can add a little bit more. But there is a disadvantage of it, because people who are in the 60s, and out of all the 60s, 50s and 60s, 70% are diabetic, then, and 70% who are diabetic, they are all prone to the glycemia, okay? So myopia, and so उनको वैसे भी नहीं दिखेगा. तो ये सब कुछ ध्यान रखना है. इसीलिए इस एग्जाम में ना, इट्स नॉट अबाउट जस्ट योर इंटेलिजेंस, बट सबका ध्यान रखना. सो गोइंग टू द नेक्स्ट वन. Let's look at the third question of the conclusion. हाँ तुम लोग बता रहे थे, तो conclusion बताओ. Yes, actually I would appreciate this one कि this यहाँ तक तो सिर्फ लिखा कि द्राविड टेम्पल बना, बट देन 1-2 लाइनर, इसमें 2 लाइन से ज़्यादा लिखने का है नहीं. देन so the temple art, the rock cut shrines developed by Pallavas, provided the base and the foundation of the grandeur temples of the Cholas. Then, so temples of the Cholas, and in 11th century AD, then that the temple art of the South India culminated with the Brihadeshwara temple. So somehow, ठीक है, somehow connecting link between them you can always mention. And then even अगर जो literature की बात करोगे तो literature में भी लिख सकते हो, क्योंकि what they started promoting and patronizing, ठीक है, was equally, that legacy was equally carried forwarded by the Cholas and even by the Vijayanagar kingdom also. So Tamil literature was enriching time and again. Then moving on to the next question. अब इसमें though the great Cholas are no more yet. अब देखो चोलाज का ये पहला क्वेश्चन है, ठीक है, 2024 का. फिर विल सी दैट की प्रीवियस एक और क्वेश्चन जो पहले आया है. सो दो द ग्रेट चोलाज आर नो मोर एट, देयर नेम इज स्टिल रिमेंबर्ड विद ग्रेट प्राइड बिकॉज ऑफ देयर हाईएस्ट अचीवमेंट in the domain of art and architecture. So once again, again, you have to find, it's a statement. This statement seems to be a kind of that appreciation of theirs. Then, but is a statement में चूंकि question है, comment. Then, so what is comment? That you have to critically reflect on it. Then, and critically reflect on it. So highest achievement. अब देखो, इसीलिए कल मैं वो जो बात कह रहा था ना कि keywords हैं, keywords के meaning you have to know. अगर जो डिस्कस है तो बैलेंस्ड व्यू, बट कमेंट है तो क्रिटिकल रिफ्लेक्शन मस्ट बी देयर. और क्रिटिकल रिफ्लेक्शन यहाँ पे क्यों होगा? बिकॉज यहाँ पे लिख दिया हाईएस्ट अचीवमेंट्स इन द डोमेन ऑफ द आर्ट एंड आर्किटेक्चर. सो वी हैव टू प्रूव दैट हाईएस्ट अचीवमेंट था या नहीं था, ठीक है. सो आर्ट एंड आर्किटेक्चर पहले. सो आर्ट पे लेट्स डू दैट आर्ट पार्ट इटसेल्फ, ठीक है. आर्ट पार्ट पे देख लो. So introduction, architecture, climax of Dravida temple, Brihadeshwara, Gangaikon Chola, ये छोड़ दो. Introduction will come to. Sculpture में Nataraj sculpture. What type of the Nataraj sculpture was created in this period? Bronze Nataraj sculpture, not the stone Nataraj. ठीक है. So bronze Nataraj sculpture, and so as many such sculptures of the Lord Shiva, not just the Nataraj, but another very famous sculpture of the Lord Shiva is the Tripurantak Shiva. Then, so Tripurantak means that Shiva who destroys all the three loks. ठीक है. So three loks. So this bronze sculpture which was created, it was considered that Nataraj, as he said, that Nataraj beginnings are there from the Pallavas time, but climax happened during the Chola period. So that part you can write it over here. That though the beginning of the Nataraj sculpture during Pallava, but this final culmination. अब इसमें लिटिल बिट ऑफ, चूंकि ये 250 वर्ड का है तो यू कैन फर्दर गो अहेड इफ यू नो. सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल कोई बहुत बड़ी किताब देखने की ज़रूरत भी नहीं है, क्योंकि NCERTs भी देखा है क्लास 11th की फाइन आर्ट पार्ट 1. सो उसमें देयर इज अ वन पेज वेयर द डिस्क्रिप्शन ऑफ द नटराज इज गिवन, ठीक है, एंड चोलाज नटराज इज गिवन. सो इन दैट डिस्क्रिप्शन व्हाट इज मेंशन्ड, देन आई विल टेल यू एग्जैक्ट डिस्क्रिप्शन, दैट वेरी गुड डिपिक्शन ऑफ दैट rhythmic dance of the Lord Shiva, then in which from his right leg Lord Shiva is suppressing a demon which is called as apasmara, and from his left leg it is like this. Then so this stance is called as bhujang trasita. So the meaning which is given in NCERT is that he is kicking away the veil of Maya ka parda. Then one of his hand is in Dolhast. Dolhast is to create the rhythm of that dance of destruction. One of the hand is in the right hand. Left hand is in Dolhast. Right hand is like this, Abhay Hasta Mudra. So what is Abhay meaning? You all know? हाँ, तो निडर, ठीक है. You must be courageous. You must not be fearful. So Abhay Hast is for the devotees. That with the destruction dance of the Lord Shiva, devotees must not be fearful. It is only for the demons. Then, and then apart from it, there is a Jwal Mala. Okay? So Jwal Mala, that garland of the flames, and another depiction is that emergence of the Ganga river from the Jata of the Lord Shiva. Then, so this depiction, and this is very beautiful. Iconography is so smooth. Then, and the way it was polished, it was in reality the climax of the sculpture. So it is justified that highest achievement. The comment, critical, ठीक है, critical reflection, so it is highest achievement. And in fact, even till this date, उसमें further add कर सकते हो कि even till this date when the Nataraj sculpture is created, so it is inspired from the Cholas, and there is not big variation from the Cholas Nataraj. Moving to the next part, artifact. Then so art में ही artifact आ गया. अब इसका relevance था क्योंकि पिछले साल का question था और पिछले साल में हमारा parliament भी inaugurate हुआ है. तो Sengol if you're writing so then fine. And Sengol was basically, it's a kind of a stick, okay, which has some sort of that design on the top that it is in a little bit of fluted. So Sengol is what in Sanskrit it is called as Rajadand and rule of the constitution, meaning that what has been written in the law, the kings have to abide by that. So a piece of architecture is symbolic of the rule also. Then moreover, म्यूजिक, अब आर्ट फॉर्म्स में म्यूजिक भी हम कह सकते हैं, ठीक है. सो अलवर्स एंड नायनार्स, अभी उनके बारे में फिर दोबारा भी बात करेंगे. अलवर्स वर डिवोटीज ऑफ लॉर्ड विष्णु एंड नायनार्स वर डिवोटीज ऑफ लॉर्ड शिवा. दे यूज टू राइट पोएम्स इन तमिल लैंग्वेज, तेवरम तेवक्रम्स प्रबंधम प्रबंध काव्यम. एंड if they are writing, so obviously it is for the singing purpose. If you ever go to, if anybody is from Tamil Nadu, they must have witnessed, and if you haven't been to Tamil Nadu, so go to Tamil Nadu temples, you will see that the writings of the Alavars and Nayanars are still, in the evening time you'll see that people are singing inside some premise of the temples, and then so as in the that rituals also. So they are used, there is a continuity. Then paintings, ठीक है. So paintings में टेम्पल के बारे में लास्ट में आई एम डिस्कसिंग, ठीक है. सो पेंटिंग्स में विजय चोलेश्वरम टेम्पल, बृहदेश्वर टेम्पल, त्रिपुरांतक सेवा is in painting also, it is in sculpture also, and royal figure paintings. So what are these paintings? These are the fresco mural paintings then, which are created on the walls of the temples, and in fact some of the best fresco murals were created at that time as far as the royal portraits are concerned. Then now coming to the Brihadeshwar temple, इसके बारे में थोड़ा ज़्यादा लिख सकते हैं, because this, if you are elaborating, so then you are justifying highest achievement. अगर जो बृहदेश्वर के बारे में लिखोगे, then only you will be able to justify. So what is it? Brihadeshwar temple once created, it was the largest temple complex of India. And so largest temple complex of India, and it was the its tower was the tallest in India, which was 68 meter high. Then on this temple, सामने है temple, you can see it, ठीक है. इसीलिए मैंने image लगा के रखा है. तो this is 68 meter high. Then this cupola is 88 ton. Then apart from it, this is the temple which has marked the beginning of the exotic sculptures to be created on the walls of the temples. So different type of the sculptures based on Hindu mythology and gods and goddess from the Hindu pantheon. Then apart from it, then there's one more part, that these all parts which looks joined to you, it is basically joined in puzzle technique, interlocking pattern of the stones. Nowhere brick has been used, nowhere cementing agent has been used, and interlocking pattern of the stones thing is followed to make this temple. Now this temple has stood the test of the time. 1011 AD was foundation, and अब 1000 साल से भी ऊपर हो चुका है without a change. हाँ, little bit of cosmetic changes are done by cleaning, and everything is done by Archaeological Survey of India, but there hasn't been even 2% damage to the temple structure even till this date. Then so that's why it was called to be one of the architectural wonder of India, and it happened to be one of the initial UNESCO heritage sites of India. So this itself, और ये कब तक सबसे बड़ा टॉवर था, that also I'll tell you. You have studied कुतुब मीनार कंस्ट्रक्शन. कुतुब मीनार कुतुबुद्दीन ऐबक ने बनाना स्टार्ट किया, ठीक है, 1206 के बाद में. And then after he was not able to, he has only laid the foundation, he was not able to complete it. Iltutmish created it till the 4th floor. Then so 4th floor तक इसकी height जो थी, that was hardly around 41-42 meters. Then after, once again, it was Firoz Shah Tughlaq who has added some layers to it. Then so he has taken it to the 5th and half floor, and then after Sikandar Lodhi's time, it was completely made to the 7th floor. So Sikandar Lodhi's timeline is 1489 to 1517. So 1489 के बाद में it became 83 meter high. Then it became, so for the previous 300 years, the tower of the Brihadeshwar temple was tallest in India. So 300 साल तक उसको कोई सरपास नहीं किया. So that you can mention in this question. Now अब बताओ, इसमें अब रिवर्स में मैं पूछ रहा हूँ, इसमें इंट्रोडक्शन कैसे लिखोगे? इंट्रोडक्शन कैसे लिखोगे? सिंगोल का बट सिंगोल से मेरे को पूरा सेंटेंस फ्रेम करके बताओ तब मुझे पता चलेगा, बिकॉज डिपेंड करता है कि कैसे लिखोगे. एंड सिंगोल विल बी लिटिल अनजस्टिफाइड इन द ओपनिंग. Okay. Then, so anyone else? Chalo, I'll tell you. ठीक है. So, a lineage becomes a legacy. A lineage becomes, or a initiative becomes a legacy when it is followed, repeated, then and celebrated in many spheres. For example, the temples of the Malay Peninsula and the Indonesian islands and took inspiration from the great Cholas. And took inspiration from the great Chola, that itself is a testament of their architectural prowess. So this is way, मतलब मैं impromptu बना रहा हूँ. इस तरह से अगर जो कुछ यूनिक या इनोवेटिव लेके आओ, क्योंकि देखो अगर जो हिस्ट्री एंशंट हिस्ट्री पढ़ा है तो उसमें पढ़ा होगा ना कि जो क्वेश्चन आया था प्रीलिम्स में, राजेंद्र चोला was perhaps the first guy who led an expedition, ठीक है, across the Bay of Bengal to Malay Peninsula, and it is a proven thing that it led to not only the increased maritime trade between these two regions, but also the cultural exchange. And cultural exchange in the form of religions of India getting promoted over there, so as the architectural similarities which are there. So that way you can start. Then I know that in exam situation, भाई मैं तो 10 साल से ऊपर से पढ़ा रहा हूँ ये सब्जेक्ट, तो मैं तो लिख दूंगा, ठीक है, बट फॉर यू इट इज़ अ चैलेंजिंग सिचुएशन. एंड जब ये चैलेंजिंग सिचुएशन नॉर्मल तब होता है जब व्हेन यू आर राइटिंग मोर आंसर्स डेली बेसिस. इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी कि किसी इंस्टीट्यूट में इनरोल करके ही लिखो, देन ये ज़रूरी नहीं है. रोज लिखो, हर रोज एक क्वेश्चन लिखो, ठीक है, एक क्वेश्चन एटलीस्ट एक सब्जेक्ट से. तो उसमें यू विल बी योर the best evaluator of your answers is you and yourself, ठीक है. So you yourself would be the best critic of your answer. Whenever you start appreciating your answer, वहाँ पे थोड़ा संभल जाओ, ठीक है, क्रिटिकल फिर हो जाओ, क्रिटिकल होके फाइंड आउट करो कि और क्या इसमें हो सकता है. तो राइट ऑन डेली बेसिस, दिस इज वॉट विल गिव यू मोर पावर एंड मोर sublime knowledge that you can put on the paper when you are in an examination hall. So ये जो मैंने बिगिनिंग में इंट्रोडक्शन दिया है, इसको शायद तुम्हें कंक्लूजन में भी लिख सकते हो, डिपेंड करता है, ठीक है. सो कंक्लूजन में भी लिख सकते हो, कंक्लूजन में सिंगल लिख दो, दैट विल बी बेटर, ठीक है. सो एंड देन फर्दर यू कैन I would say कि you can further go with that architectural style which got replicated in the different temples of the South India, how it was improvised. So that also you can mention in this part. अब 2000, so this is 15 marker. अब इसमें हो गया 40 नंबर के क्वेश्चन थे 2024 में. Let's move on to, so see that ये पिछले साल बनाया था, यहीं पे एंड हो गया था. तो this is my book, ठीक है, of culture. Last year I launched it. Now let's go on to the next part, Civil Services Mains Examination 2023. So ये भी question easy था, ठीक है, I would say, but इसमें बस what you needed to do is to have a cool, calm composure, look at the question, keywords, write on that, don't complicate it. Look at the question. Explain the role of geographical factors in the development of ancient India. 10 marker question, 150 words. बहुत ज़्यादा लिखने के लिए नहीं बोला है, ठीक है. So 10 marker question, 150 words, and so understand role of geographical factors in development of ancient India. So लिखना क्या है? Geographical factors ही लिखना है, और तो कुछ नहीं लिखना है. And so it's exactly a question of cultural geography, and I would say that cultural geography, that how the geographical things have shaped the culture and the identity of this land. Then, so easy है इसमें. So you can start with, जैसे this way I have created some big headings, ठीक है. The rivers and the fertile plains. Then, so now when we talk about the river systems, you can start with the Indus River system itself, ठीक है. That Indus River system, then that Indus and then the tributaries of the Indus, okay, Punjab, then so as the Sapta Sindhu river, which includes the Saraswati also. So that what it has done, that these all rivers are important from the economic perspective, because the rivers bring very fertile silts and moraines. They deposit in the Doab areas, and in Doab areas that the crops like wheat, barley, rice and other staple commodities can be promoted. So what is very important for the humanity to have surplus food? When human was in hunting gatherer stage, so hunting is not an easy thing, and moreover human population was not growing faster because of the nutrition then. But when there would be a surplus of the food, so nutrition would be more, it will further support the great population growth also then. So actually it is the river systems of India, on one hand this river system, on the other hand Ganga, Brahmaputra, Yamuna system, so as in the southern India the Kaveri and the Tungabhadra and the Godavari system then. So these all areas have supported, okay, agricultural fertility and so as the population growth. So if India is in always, we were always 1 or 2 in the number of the population. So it's not because of that not being funny, because reproductive capacities are more, it's because of that the tropical and the subtropical climate supports the existence and the survival of more number of people. In extreme climates people cannot be in more numbers. More numbers में आर्कटिक एरिया में नहीं हो सकते हैं, अफ्रीका में भी ज़्यादा नहीं हो सकते हैं, बट देन आवर सब ट्रॉपिकल क्लाइमेट इज़ द बेस्ट सूटेड फॉर एनी काइंड ऑफ पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ, be it the animal population growth or plant population growth or human population growth. Then that is one. Then mountains as natural barriers. Then so what kind of barrier? Pehle let's have a look at the Himalayas. Then so Himalayas have acted as a kind of a security and that protector to the India's entire area of the north, and so as in the west part also up to certain extent. Then apart from it, cold breeze which people in Tibet, people in Central Asia, they battle, that doesn't comes to India, and that's how it further. So that cold breeze या wind जो भी कहो, ठीक है, that is not coming to India, it is supporting more population. Then Western and Eastern Ghats. So Western and Eastern Ghats, what way they support? They support that tsunamis, ठीक है, or if the corrosion of the that colliding of the waves with the seashore happens, so in that way it does not lead to more damage because of the prosperity and then diversity which is there in the eastern and western Ghats. Then coming to the Deccan Plateau. Deccan Plateau is rich mineral resource shaping metallurgy and tools. Then so Deccan Plateau, as we all know कि जब वेस्ट से हम ईस्ट की तरफ जाते हैं तो एक ढलान है, there is a gradient towards the east. Then so that what leads to the that river pattern also कि rivers किस direction में जाएंगे. उसके अलावा that it also decides that in different areas that different type of the minerals are there in Kudremukh, in Goa, in Chhattisgarh, in Jharkhand, Chota Nagpur Plateau in Odisha, you will find more iron ore. Then कहीं पे zinc है तो कहीं पे manganese है, कहीं aluminium है. So rich natural resources are there, which has also shaped the industrial production of India, tools and technologies and the arms and the armaments. Then and the most important is iron only. That iron, though discovered in the western UP, but abode of the iron is the Chota Nagpur Plateau. And iron made Indian monarchies very powerful because of the weapons that they have created with the help of the iron. Then coming to the next part, climate and monsoon. Then so climate and monsoon, you tell me, ये कैसे ancient India को shape करता है monsoons? See, this is everything you have studied. मैं ऐसा कुछ नया नहीं बता रहा हूँ, मैं बस एक ही काम कर रहा हूँ कि सब चीज़ों को एक जगह इकट्ठा कर रहा हूँ. बताओ. Yes, so cultural diversity, when we talk about the cultural diversity of India, monsoon winds are one such reason. Then, so trade winds facilitated. I hope you have studied 17 factors of the monsoon, in which one of the most important is the southwest monsoon winds, which you call trade winds. Then, so trade winds direction is as such in the month of June that it comes from, the winds come from the Arab world to India. Easily Arab world के लोग अपनी बोट पानी में डालते हैं, इंडिया आ जाते हैं, ठीक है. Then similarly retreating monsoon, you must have read, नवंबर में, अक्टूबर के लास्ट से नवंबर दिसंबर तक तमिलनाडु में. सो विंड रिवर्सेस, अब इंडिया से अरब वर्ल्ड की तरफ विंड चल रही है, तो ईजिली दे विल पुट द बोट्स फ्रॉम इंडिया एंड देन दे विल गो टू द अरब वर्ल्ड. सो देर वॉज अ नेचुरल ट्रेड कॉन्टैक्ट बिटवीन द इंडिया एंड अरब वर्ल्ड which has led to the cultural contact also. But one very important thing, that the monsoon of India has shaped agriculture of India. Then this would be the very first thing that I would mention, that monsoon of India has shaped the agriculture of India. And we had been in prosperity because of the monsoons, and we had been in adversity because of the drought. So El Nino, La Nina phenomenon. Then, so when the less monsoon is there, so then drought would be there. So droughts and floods, sometimes they are the parts of the monsoon, but not very often. Okay? It's a once in a while phenomenon, but that happens then. So monsoon has shaped the crop cycles in India. Okay? So because of the monsoon rains, then 3 crop cycles are possible in some parts of India, and some parts of India 2 crop cycle, depending on how much water it gets. Then, so Zayed, Kharif and Rabi. Okay? So the main monsoon belts particularly, okay, pura North India, Eastern India, and so as the Western Ghat part. So there 3 crop cycle can happen. Then climate has also shaped the cultural diversity. Climate की वजह से that what changes is the wearing pattern, food pattern, ठीक है. So wearing and food pattern. अब एक question और है जो geography में लोगों ने डाल दिया है उसको, ठीक है. Last year में ही पूछा था 2023 में. मैं question बता रहा हूँ, मुझे पूरा exactly याद नहीं है, but essence I know that there is a wind which flows called as Purabia, ठीक है. How it has influenced the culture of that region, ठीक है. So basically the Bhojpur region, ठीक है. Bhojpur बोलो या पूरा Mathil area, Bihar and UP, Eastern UP. So as the parts of the Bengal also. So what is this Purabia? This is a part of your climate and the weather phenomenon. Then, so Purabia is a wind कि अचानक से क्या होता है that March, ठीक है, that this particular February is the end of the cold season, ठीक है, in North India, East India. Then उसके बाद then the winds that are with, called as Purabia, they are little cold, ठीक है. So when you are entering into a warm phase, अचानक से cold आ जाता है, तो क्या होता है, हिंदी में एक word use होता है, सर्द गर्म हो जाता है, ठीक है. I hope you have heard. Then, so what leads to that you will be ill, maybe fever, sneezing, कुछ भी हो. तो for that there is a preparation in the entire eastern belt of India, which has shaped. So climate, this wind has shaped. उसको मैं चाहूँ तो इसमें भी डाल सकूँ. एक embroidery होती है बिहार में बनती है, सुजनी, ठीक है. So sujni is created from the that old sarees which people are not using. So 4 part साड़ी एक साथ जोड़ के and then they create sujni. Then people create good, ठीक है, that jaggery with masalas, ठीक है, with condiments, like they will be putting that clove, ठीक है, ginger, mulethi, these all things, so that when there is a गले में खराश, तो विक्स की गोली नहीं खानी है, तो वो जिंजर खाना है. Then तिल के लड्डू. So these all are the preparation, and so as the songs, ठीक है. So Purabia song, सावन के song, Bidisiya song, Kajari. So these all are influenced from this trade wind thing only. Then, so दैट क्वेश्चन उसको ज्योग्राफी में नहीं डालना चाहिए, क्योंकि ज्योग्राफी वाले नहीं बता पाएंगे कल्चर कैसे इन्फ्लुएंस करता है, वो सिर्फ विंड का नेचर बताएंगे. सो दैट ऑल्सो यू कैन कीप इट इन द क्लाइमेट इन द मानसून वाला पार्ट में कि हाउ इट हैज शेप्ड. देन कोस्टल एरियाज, मैरीटाइम ट्रेड एंड डेवलपमेंट ऑफ पोर्ट्स. वन वेरी important part of the Indian civilization or ancient India is that right from the beginning we had a number of the ports. We have seen the development of the ports from the Indus Valley time itself. Lothal, okay? Then Dholavira also, we can say that some sort of riverine port was there. Uske alawa Alahadino, Balakot, then that Sutakoh. So these were some of the Desalpur. Desalpur was not a port. So many ports were created during the Indus Valley. Uske baad, every year if you are seeing last 6 to 7 year paper, हर year paper में देखा होगा कि alternate year में ports are asked. So Tamralipti, Kalyan, Chakla, Ghantasila, Kadura, then Thuthukodi, Muziri, then Motupalli. So these all ports. So if you look at, so eastern coast and western coast has a plenty of the ports. In fact, it is said that Ashoka was hell-bent to fight the Kalinga war because he wanted to acquire the ports of Utkal, Kalinga. Then, so ports were very important, and Indians have understood the importance of the maritime trade. And this maritime trade kind of thing has reached its climax during the Chola period. When? And with Chola, Imperial Chola. So shipbuilding, naval industry, and then after they're crossing the Bay of Bengal, entering into the South China Sea also. They have gone till China, their ships have gone till China for the trade and commerce. And that's what last day we were discussing, that when in 2014 Xi Jinping, he came to India, so he first came to Mahabalipuram, then when our new government was created. So it was a symbol because Mahabalipuram was the first port trade contact of India with China during the Imperial Chola period. Then, so maritime trade, in fact, maritime trade was also there with the Italian part of the world, Rome and Europe and black pepper trade, everything. So I will just quote one word of the Pliny. Pliny, he was one of the very famous historian of the first century BC. What he has written, that India has become the sinkhole of the precious yellow metal. So what does it mean? What is gold? So sinkhole मतलब कि यहाँ से ट्रेड इतना ज़्यादा है कि उन्हें अपने सारे गोल्ड इन्हें देने पड़ रहे हैं. So this is what he has mentioned about India. Then, so maritime trade has played that role. Forest and natural resources. So forest and natural resources में एक चीज़ मैं बोलूँगा, medicinal plants of India has led to development of a new science of or new method of the body correction, ठीक है, that ailments, so that is Ayurveda. Then, and so as that since we belong to the subtropical climate, then overall subtropical climate, but there is a variety also, so we have best of the timbers in the world, then some of the best of the timbers in the world, which we often use in a number of the ways. Then geographical and cultural, so geographical diversity has led to the cultural diversity. Then, so rituals, festivals, fairs, so as their food, everything has been shaped by the culture, geographical diversity. Why that? Particularly if you look at the northern belt, then so northern, the fertile belt. So the food is that the item is rice, okay? But what they cook with the rice is that different thing. What they cook with the rice in the southern India, that's a different thing. It's because of the local produce changes. Then local produce changes and the local phenomenon, or that cultural, sorry, geographical phenomenon also changes. I'll give you just one example, not to be written in it. Then, so for example, that in Kerala part, okay, Tamil Nadu part, if you go to Kerala, Tamil Nadu, in these all parts, there is a hell lot of humidity. Then, so hell lot of humidity, and if you look at their preparations, then so in the preparations, what they do, that chili कहाँ पे ज़्यादा यूज़ होता है, नॉर्थ इंडिया या साउथ इंडिया में? दोनों जगह यूज़ होता है, ठीक है? The only difference is that chilies which are used in both the parts, it is used in South India, but it is neutralized also. And how it is neutralized, why they started using coconut milk in every preparation is because that it acts as a coolant. Then it does not leads to more perspiration. So when chilies and coconut milk, they get combined, so less perspiration happens from your body. Then, so you feel less heat in those situations. So food is a remedy also. Then, so that's how that a geographical aspect has shaped the particular cuisine also. So this way we can that write this particular question. But एक बात ध्यान रखना कि 150 वर्ड है, भावनाओं में बह के पूरी ज्योग्राफी नहीं लिखनी है, ठीक है? तो एंड अच्छी बात ये है कि दोज वर द डेज हम उस टाइम पे लिखते थे जब हमें पेपर अलग मिलता था और आंसर शीट हम ABCD जैसे यूनिवर्सिटी में लिखते थे. तो दैट वे वी यूज टू आस्क फॉर द ABC सीट. And so as you know that in university when we are writing for C, D seat, so we feel elated. We felt elated कि हमने तो D कॉपी भरी, अब तो भर भर के नंबर मिलेगा. तो ये UPSC में नहीं है. तो predefined space is there where you'll be writing these all. Moving to the next part. What are the main features of Vedic society and religion? पिछले वाले में क्या था? Society and economy. And इसमें Vedic society and religion. Do you think some of the features are still prevailing in Indian society? So, see that now they have what you need to take care in, note down in this question. इसमें Vedic society दिया है, not Rigvedic and later Vedic. It means that the question is from 1500 to 6th century BC. ठीक है? So, it is entire duration, early Vedic and later Vedic both. So, what were the main features? So features you'll be writing. Then do you think some of the features are still prevailing? So there are two parts of this question also. This was also a 15 marker. And first part you're writing about the Vedic society and religion. Second part you're writing about the prevailing, what all features are prevailing in Indian society. So इसमें जो question I think तुम पूछ रहे थे तो address हो जाएगा इसमें. So Vedic society was patriarchal and patrilineal structure. ठीक है? दोनों time पे. That it was patriarchal in the early Vedic time also, later Vedic time also. Then, so though women were accorded respect, but then society was patriarchal. What are the examples that 250 word का है तो थोड़े examples भी डाल सकते हैं. So what examples we can keep? That Rajan was invariably a male, ठीक है, head of the tribal society, and so as head of the family was Kulapa, who was invariably a male. So that is a patriarchal thing. Then patrilineal. So patrilineal, you know that lineage is on the transfer of property, and so as the name, so it inheritance on the basis of the father side, not the mother side. So patrilineal society. Now next one, Varna system. So Varna system was mentioned during later Vedic period, not the early Vedic period. In the 10th mandal of the Rigved, which was composed during the later Vedic period. So it mentions Varna system, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Then, and what is the name of the theory? Purusha Shukta theory. Then, so in Purusha Shukta theory, it is mentioned that to divide the society into 4 varnas on the basis of ascription. What is ascription? By birth. So, Brahmana ka beta Brahmana, Kshatriya ka beta Kshatriya, like this way. Then, so that we can call social stratification, meaning that division in the society has started. Then, rural pastoral economy. In reality, both the period were rural and pastoral. Can you give me example? Rural, pastoral. देखो, हाँ, cattle पहले वाले में cattle is also a kind of that rural economy, and pastoral, that agricultural, ठीक है? So that is also in the later Vedic period, agricultural. So rural pastoral economy was there, ठीक है? Which was mainly concentrated around the rearing of the cattle, and so as the agricultural produce. So initially yav and godhuma, that is wheat and barley, were produced, and later on rice and many other commodities also started to be produced. Then in the society, when we talk about the role and status of women, ये already हम लोग discuss कर चुके हैं. The role of that, though women were accorded a good respect, good position in the society in the early Vedic period, they had political right, they had educational rights, but there were changes in their rights in the later Vedic period. So ऐसे लिखोगे इसको. So what were the changes? They were no more enjoying the political rights. They were removed from Sabha. They were there was no more Vidhat. Then marriage wala part that we mentioned earlier, they were allowed to have the husband of their choice, but then now Gandharva marriage is no more encouraged, right? But educational rights remain intact, and educational discourses were still open to them. And widow remarriage was prevalent in both the times. Then, so that you can mention. You can also address the angle of the polygamy and the polyandry also. So though polyandry was not a prevalent practice, but some instances have been noticed. Then polygamy, yes, it was there. So that can be mentioned. Then Sabha Samiti already bata diya. अब रिलीजन में आते हैं, चूंकि ऊपर वाले पार्ट में पूछा है वैदिक सोसाइटी एंड रिलीजन, सो फर्स्ट पार्ट के 2 पार्ट हैं, ठीक है, और सेकेंड पार्ट is the 2 questions actually इसमें. तो Vedic religion was polytheistic religion. Then, so what is polytheistic? Many devatas and many devis. Then, so devatas तो ऐसे generally हम लोगों ने बता दिया, ठीक है, but then many devis were also there. So female goddess like Aditi, Usha, Nisa, Hariti, Raka. Then, so many such goddess were mentioned. Savitri. Then, so polytheism was very much there. That worship of the multiple deities. Then anthropomorphic gods in the Vedic religion. So who were anthropomorphic? I think पहले mention किया था, Indra, Agni, Varun, Mitra, Soma. Then so they were the anthropomorphic god, that elements of the nature, and they have been personalized, that personification of the elements of the nature into a godly thing, divine thing. Then yajanas or sacrificial rituals, then so that was there in both the periods, that in fact Yajurveda is all about the sacrificial rituals, also guideline to the yajanas. Then so yajanas ke through ही God की worship होती थी, but understand in the Vedic period there was no temple worship, there was no idol worship. Okay, so no temple worship, no idol worship during the Vedic period, and worship was happening through the sacrificial rituals itself, okay, yajanas itself. Then and people of those time they believed in the reet, RTA पढ़ेंगे उसको reet. Then what is reet? Cosmic order. They believe in the cosmos, the order of the cosmos, which they used to call, हम हिंदी में उसको बोलेंगे, संस्कृत में बोलेंगे ब्रह्मांड. Then so they had a belief in the Brahma and the Brahmand. Then so they believed in a kind of a natural cosmic order, and from the natural cosmic order, if there is a order in the cosmos, so that leads to the order in the normal general life of the people, which became dharma. Okay, so from reet what emerged? Dharma. Then so that is what, and dharma is what is our order in our life. Then hymns and Shruti tradition. Okay, so hymns are what? That there are the different collection of the mantras. Then so mantra chanting, and so as the Shruti tradition, meaning Vedas were not written, Vedas were composed, they were passed on from one generation to another generation in the oral tradition. ठीक है, तो मैंने तुम्हें बताया, तुमने उसको याद करके किसी अगले जनरेशन को बताया. So this is what was the feature of the Vedic religion. Then moving to the next part, almost I am blocking the images which are there, but then images are good for retention of the things. ठीक है, इसलिए आर्ट एंड कल्चर या जोग्राफी में स्कोप तो है कि इमेजेस तुम काफ़ी यूज़ कर सकते हो उससे, एंड कलरफुल इमेजेस leads to retention of the knowledge. So are some practices prevalent in the Indian society? अच्छा, if you actually this PPT which PPT नहीं है, ये keynote है, I have created it. अगर चाहिए तो मुझे बता देना, ठीक है. I'll have to do one exercise, क्योंकि इसको मैं अपलोड करूँगा घर जो चैनल में, तो ये मिसप्लेस्ड वे में आएगा. तो व्हाट आई विल डू, आई विल क्लिक अ स्क्रीनशॉट ऑफ इट, ठीक है, फोटो के फॉर्म में, एंड देन आई विल पुट इट इनटू द चैनल. ठीक है, वहाँ से कल का वाला भी नहीं किया है मैंने, आज आई विल डू दैट. ठीक है, सो लेट्स कम टू आवर सम प्रैक्टिसेस स्टिल प्रिवेलिंग इन इंडियन सोसाइटी. सो वर्ण एंड कास्ट सिस्टम, पहला चीज क्या लिखा है, दो ऑफिशियली अबॉलिश्ड. इज इट? यस. व्हाट इज ऑफिशियल डॉक्यूमेंट फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस टू फॉलो? Constitution of India. Does Constitution of India recognizes caste system or that Varna system? It says something? No, obviously not. Then, so officially it is abolished, but then it is prevalent in the society. So though on official level it may not be of any help, but then on societal level, majority of us are driven by the caste system and the Varna Vyavastha only. Then, though we may have become progressive, some of us, but then our family rituals, okay, our family things are mainly guided by it. So caste and varna is still there, and as it is mentioned, caste-based identity still affects social structure, politics and marriage. So politics में, ठीक है, obviously that politics में I don't need to tell you, ठीक है, that एक यूपी में एक ये बहुत popular word चलता था 1990 onwards, that if you are from Ajgar, ठीक है, so you are politically strong. If you are Ajgar, so you are politically strong. What is Ajgar? Ahir, Jat, Gujjar, Rajput. ठीक है? So if you belong to any of these categories, you are politically fit to be a political master. ठीक है? So dominant caste, if you have studied sociology, तो उसमें पढ़ोगे dominant caste. Right? So caste shapes politics. बिहार में चले जाओ, caste shapes politics. ठीक है? Entire North India, not just the Bihar. राजस्थान में चले जाओ, ठीक है? It affects politics. ठीक है? So entire North India, more than South, North is more affected with the caste politics. Then marriages में, ठीक है? सगोत्री विवाह, ठीक है? नहीं होता है, ठीक है? Then marriage in the same varna. So you know it, these all. So that is still prevalent in the society. Coming to the next part, patriarchal family system. Though there are few examples in India where society is matrilineal, ठीक है? But then matrilineal, matriarchal तो वैसे बहुत कम है, ठीक है? But matrilineal society somewhere we have seen, but overall 95% of the Indian society is patriarchal and patrilineal. Then so as patrilocal also. Then role of rituals and the priest. So those rituals, don't we perform the yajna? It happens time and again. अभी महाकुंभ था, महाकुंभ में हर जगह यज्ञ हो रहा था, तो still going on. Then Brahmin priests still perform wedding, naming, नामकरण संस्कार. Then other religious function. 16 संस्कार में से जो भी संस्कार हो वो सारे functions ये कराते हैं. Then तो नामकरण, गोद भराई, फिर उसके बाद then चूड़ाकरण, मुंडन संस्कार, then उपनयन संस्कार, that is जनेऊ संस्कार. So these all संस्कार्स are assisted by Brahmin priest. So that is still continuing. Importance of the oral tradition, recitation of the Vedic mantras, very important. In fact, in every ritual there is a recitation of mantra. So recitation of mantra, though mantras were created during early Vedic, later Vedic period, but that even till this point of time mantras are created till Tulsidas, till different saints of the North India. So mantra recitation is very important. Polytheism and nature worship. So we have that polytheism. We have, बोलते हैं ना कि 33 करोड़ देवता, ठीक है? 33 करोड़ देवता और देवी हैं. तो polytheism is one such part with roots. And in fact, forget about the main deities. Each and every village has their own particular deity. Devi, Devata, Gram Devi, with different names. Then, so that is there. Then nature worship. People का पेड़ नहीं काटेंगे, ठीक है? भले चाहे वो इस दीवार में उगाए. Then दीवार टूट जाए, but people का पेड़ नहीं काटेंगे. What is it? This is the nature worship. Some sort of fear of the nature is there. But the unique aspect is that in the nature worship, we do worship animals also, because animals are depicted as the vehicles of the many gods. Then a question है where we'll see. So many gods. For example, peacock is the vehicle of the Lord Kartikeya. Then crow is the vehicle of Sunny Dev, ठीक है? Then rat is vehicle of Ganesh ji. Then lion, ठीक है? Goddess Durga. And then bull, Lord Shiva. So if you see that the deities, Lord Shiva with the snake also, ठीक है? So depiction of the animals with the deities is also emphasizing the concept of the cohabitation and also the nature worship. In fact, so last में dharma or moral duty. Concept of dharma is central principle in Hindu philosophy, law and daily life. Then it is, in fact. Then so dharma. उपनयन संस्कार के पहले, जनेऊ संस्कार के पहले, you are not supposed to be following or kind of, you're not supposed to be, you are not accountable to the familial duties, but after that you are accountable. Then so गृहस्थ आश्रम में आते ही धर्म की responsibility, ठीक है? And then dharma is not just the familiar duties but also the duties related to your religion, that many things. Then so dharma is the central principle of dharma, artha, kama, moksha, ठीक है? So these all which emanated from the Vedic age, we are still continuing with it. But कुछ छोटे छोटे practices भी अगर जो नहीं भी याद आए तो just you need to just close your eyes, just think about कि आजकल हम मतलब अपने रिचुअल्स में क्या करते हैं. तो कहीं देखते हो कि अगर जो उसमें थाली में सिंदूर रखा हुआ है, ठीक है? देयर इज़ अ, इफ सम वर्शिप इज़ हैपनिंग, रक्षाबंधन याद कर लिया तो देन चावल रखा है, देन देयर इज़ अ कर्ड, देयर इज़ अ घी, ठीक है? In actual, these all rituals started from the Vedic period. We are still continuing with it. Then havan करते वक्त that in Havan Samagri you must have seen doob is also kept. What is doob? Dhruva. Okay, it is called as dhruva or doob or grass, dried grass or grass is also. That is one favorite food of some of the deities done. So it is also done that kept into the fire. So put into the fire. So this way many such things. छोटी छोटी भी चीज़ें अगर जो सोचोगे तो वो गलत होने के चांसेस कम है, आ जाएगा इसमें इस फोल्ड में. तो यू कैन ऐड इन दिस आंसर. फाइन. अब लेट्स मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. ये क्वेश्चन ऐसा था जिसमें आई वुड से कि थोड़ी लिखने के स्कोप मतलब एग्जामिनेशन सिचुएशन में कम थे. कुछ लिख लिया होता बट नॉट एवरीथिंग. देन सो 2023 पेपर का है. एक बार क्वेश्चन पढ़ो, मैं साइड में हो जाता हूँ. What are the major technological changes introduced during the Sultanate period? How did those technological changes influence the Indian society? I'll have to check. It was a 10 marker only. It was not a 15 marker. Question बड़ा है, but 10 marker ही था. So let's look at it. So technological changes introduced during the Sultanate period. अब 15 marker है, ठीक है. So new military technology, Turkish cavalry and mounted archery. So Turkish cavalry, that the way the Turkish people basically that when we talk about Muhammad Ghuri, उसके टाइम के बाद then the first Delhi Sultanate founder Qutbuddin Aibak, they were Turkish in nature. So when they have come to India, so they have organized their cavalry in the Turkish way. And उसमें what was important was the mounted archery. So mounted archery, that there was a kind of fixed arch on it. उसको कहीं से आपको move नहीं करना है. While you're riding the horse, you yourself can launch the arrows. Then so mounted archery was a new thing. Then apart from it, iron stirrup and saddle improvement. This is also related to cavalry. So घोड़े पे चढ़ने के लिए कभी देखा होगा एक रखा हो कुछ लोहे का ऐसे बना होता है, तो that is iron stirrup and the saddle. तो easily दौड़ते हुए कूद के उस पे चढ़ गए. तो घोड़े पे चढ़ना इज अ वेरी डिफिकल्ट टास्क. ठीक है, हाँ शादी में लोग चढ़ते हैं, दैट इज इटसेल्फ इज अ वेरी डिफिकल्ट टास्क. उसके बाद वाला तो सो यहाँ पे भी घोड़े पे चढ़ना आसान करने के लिए दैट सैडल एंड देन आयरन स्टारअप वेर क्रिएटेड. देन कमिंग टू द नेक्स्ट पार्ट, सी गन पाउडर पे बहुत सारा डिबेट होता है. गन पाउडर यूज्ड इन कैनन्स, ठीक है, for the very first time by the Portuguese in India, ठीक है, and then Babur on the land front, Portuguese on the sea front and Babur on the land front. But whenever you get a question कि किसने पहली बार कैनन यूज किया Indian subcontinent में, तो that would be Portuguese. Then they used, Vasco da Gama was the one who used it, and Babur used it in 1526 then in first battle of Panipat. But gunpowder was already known to Indians by the end of the 15th century only. It was a place called Kaliswari in Tamil Nadu where the gunpowder was already made then, and gunpowder economy was already running, but nobody knew at that time, or basically cannon तब तक develop नहीं हुए थे इंडिया में. So small firearms were created then apart from it, improved fortification. So brick, lime and mortar, they were the main construction material with which they have created very strong forts then. So that was improvement in the military technology. Then agricultural advancement. अब देखो लास्ट ईयर का ये भी क्वेश्चन डिस्कशन हम लोग कर चुके थे, ठीक है. 7 साल का 7 ईयर का क्वेश्चन पेपर डिस्कशन लास्ट ईयर किया था. उसमें अरघट्ट भी डिस्कस्ड, एक बार ऑलरेडी पूछ चुका है प्रीलिम्स में, दोबारा सो 3 बार ये क्वेश्चन आ चुका. मैं बोलूंगा तो 1 time in mains and 2 times in the prelims. So अरघट्ट is a kind of a spinning wheel of Persian spinning wheel. तो उसमें क्या है कि एक व्हील है, व्हील पे चारों तरफ से, ठीक है, मटके, ठीक है. सो द वाटर पॉट्स आर देयर एंड इफ यू आर रोटेटिंग द व्हील, सो दैट मटका इज अटैच्ड विद द रोप, इट इज गोइंग डाउन इनटू द वाटर. एक साइड से जा रहा है, एक साइड से पानी लेके आ रहा है, और दूसरी साइड से ऊपर में एक कुछ मतलब उपाय बना होता था जिसके थ्रू वो मतलब कैनाल में चला जाए. सो दैट वे, सो अरघट वॉज द दैट वन सच टेक्नोलॉजी ऑफ द इरिगेशन. देन कैनाल, वेल्स एंड टैंक्स. टैंक्स के बारे में बात करें तो हौज खास, ठीक है, दिल्ली में अलाउद्दीन खिलजी के टाइम से. एंड देन फर्दर इम्प्रूवमेंट ड्यूरिंग द फिरोज शाह तुगलक. कैनाल्स, Major improvement was there at the time of the Firoz Shah Tughlaq only. From Yamuna river, he created 3 canals, big canals, one coming to Delhi, another going to Sind and Rohtak also. So canals, then tanks, they have created n number of the places, sarais and bawalis were created. Coming to the next part, textile technology mein, spinning wheel, charkha was the invention at the time of the Delhi Sultanate. So spinning wheel was their invention, and new weaving and embroidery. So basically, new weaving mein, have you heard about chikankari? Okay? So it's a Persian weaving style which has come to India. Then uske alawa zardozi, ladkiyon ko pata hoga. So zardozi. So zardozi is also a unique type of embroidery which has come from the Persian part of the world to India during the Delhi Sultanate time. So these were some new interventions during this period. Now coming to the next part is impact on Indian society. So impact on Indian society, now understand. Military dominance of Turks and Afghan leading to the political change. What is it? That when the technological changes have happened in the military, their military has, their army has become much stronger, and with the use of the very forceful cavalries and swift cavalry, they were able to dominate the Indian monarchies. Then it is changing the political scenario of India. In fact, later stages what has happened, that Indian kingdoms also decided to adopt these military technologies to fight with the aggressors who are coming from the Turk area, Afghan area and Persian area. Then agricultural surplus and population growth. Because of the development of the canals and that spinning wheel, so as the tanks and everything, so agricultural surplus was happening, and so as last we discussed na, कि अगर जो agricultural surplus होगा, food would be more, population growth would be more. That would support more population growth. Then, so people do the family planning. If somebody is poor, he will not go for more number of children. ठीक है? हाँ, उसमें तुम मुझे काउंटर कर सकते हो कि कुछ लोग सोचते हैं कि ज़्यादा बेटे होंगे तो फिर उसके बाद ज़्यादा हाथ होंगे काम करने के लिए, हो सकता है, ठीक है, बट इन जनरल that everybody knows their economic aspect. If and what if that more girls would be there? So then how come he will be giving the Dahej then? So the population growth was somehow in those days was very well related to that how much food availability is there to the people then. So that decided, and then growth of new urban craft centers, Delhi, Lahore, Multan, North India mein particularly many craft centers developed. Then Jaipur is also up to some extent we can say that Delhi Sultanate mein to nahi hai, uske baad hai, Jaipur will not count. Delhi, Multan and Lahore, they were the main new craft centers, embroidery, cutleries, then Persian cutlery, Turkish cutlery. So many such crafts have come to India which were created over here. Then cultural and architectural transformation. Architectural mein you yourself can tell, arch and dome method of construction, okay? Then two arch were introduced, two domes were introduced. Then uske alawa, what are the decoration methods? Architecture mein calligraphy, then arabesque technique, paitra dura technique, okay? Then jali work. Then you can further mention about मुझे सब भूल रहा है, water tanks, ठीक है, fountains. So new architectural things, use of red sandstone on a very grand level, and so as the white marbles, ठीक है. तो यहाँ पे white marble use होगा, सांची स्तूपा में नहीं, जो कल some of you were there. So specialized occupation like weavers, calligraphers, architects and irrigation engineering. इसको एक और तरीके से लिख सकते हो, more employment generation, ठीक है. So different specialized categories, occupations emerging, and more employment opportunities were there at that time. And change in social hierarchy in urban centers due to artisans and craftsmen's class. So traditional Indian hierarchy is Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. But ab yahan pe, because of the establishment of the Delhi Sultanate, then that those people who are good in the trade and the craft, and their status is improving, particularly in the urban centers. Then, so particularly in the urban centers, and old traditional hierarchy of India was broken. So for this, there are some examples like Firoz Shah Tughlaq himself. He abolished all the privileges of the Brahmins class. Alauddin Khilji, he abolished the privileges of the Muqaddams and एक और नाम आता है, ठीक है, Khuds and Muqaddams. Then, so he abolished their privileges. Then, so this way you can see that old privileged class, their privileges are abolished, and new privileged class is emerging totally on the basis of the new occupations. Then, so these are the some impacts on the society. And so If you want to go blunt, so you can write few more things also, that society में there were more conversions also. Prisoners of wars were converted into Islam. Then, so that also can be written. That happened. So this is what is the part of the this military technology वाला. ठीक है? Let's move on to 2022 का पेपर. हाँ पूछो. हाँ 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 सब चीज़ टेक्नोलॉजी है. ठीक है? एक ना कपड़े में सुई कैसे, सुई बना के और सुई कैसे डालोगे, दैट इज़ ऑल्सो टेक्नोलॉजी. ठीक है? सो यांत्रिकी. एंड आर्य शर्मा पढ़ना उठा के. ठीक है? आर्य शर्मा, एक मिनट कंप्लीट करने दो. आर्य शर्मा उठा के पढ़ना. आर्य शर्मा में जब नियोलिथिक और मेसोलिथिक और पैलियोलिथिक पीरियड दिया हुआ है, तो इंग्लिश वाले वर्जन में दिया है कि फ्लिंट टेक्नोलॉजी इंडस्ट्री डेवलप्ड. पहला क्वेश्चन तो ये होता है कि टेक्नोलॉजी कहाँ से है और इंडस्ट्री कहाँ से है. तो समटाइम्स इंग्लिश इज़ अ कंफ्यूजिंग लैंग्वेज. ठीक है? इट क्रिएट्स कंफ्यूजन. सो you can read the Hindi version also at the same point of time, but then you can, now onwards you just remove this obstacle which is, मेरे भी दिमाग में अगर मैं तुम्हारी जगह होता बिगिनिंग में, अगर ये क्वेश्चन आया होता तो मैं ऐसे ही सोचता. बट देन फर्स्ट टाइम आई क्वेश्चनड दिस थिंग व्हेन आई फाउंड फ्लिंट टेक्नोलॉजी इंडस्ट्री. ठीक है? तो इन आर्य शर्मा एंड दैट टू इन द पैलियोलिथिक पीरियड. सो इट्स जस्ट हिंदी में बोलूँगा, लैंग्वेज का हेर फेर है. तुम कुछ पूछ रहे थे. हाँ बाबर वॉज यूजिंग कैनन, नॉट समझने में तुम्हारे भी फेर हो गया है. गन पाउडर वॉज यूज थ्रू द कैनन्स. वी वर टॉकिंग अबाउट इन द बिगिनिंग कैनन्स. तोप के थ्रू गन पाउडर का जब यूज़ करोगे तो ज़्यादा बेटर होगा. और गन पाउडर अगर जो ऐसे लूज छोड़ दोगे ना तो दिवाली का पटाखा होगा. ठीक है? तो इवन इफ ही यूजेज ना, so that will be of no use. Indians had the knowledge of it but didn't had the knowledge that it can be operated through the cannons then. And Babur had this knowledge, Portuguese has this knowledge that it can be used very effectively through the cannons. ठीक है? So maximum उस gun powder से क्या कर सकते थे? अनार बना सकते थे, दिवाली वाला. That's, I'm not joking, I'm just telling you. Kaliswari is the place which is famous for making all the patakhas, fireworks of India. ठीक है? तो that cannon part is important in the gunpowder, not the gunpowder itself. Abhi I discussed this part in the beginning itself. Cannon was first used in India by the Portuguese, Vasco da Gama. ठीक है? That is somewhere around 1499. Then, and then it was further used by Pedro Alvarez Cabral. It was further used by de Almeida. Then, and then in 1526 on the land frontier of India, Babur used it. तो ऐसे लिख सकते हो. मैं तुमको करेक्ट आंसर दे रहा हूँ. ठीक है? हाँ हाँ पूछो. तुम्हारे क्वेरीज से मुझे पानी पीने का टाइम मिल रहा है. बताओ. नहीं, here Sultanate period is basically Delhi Sultanate. हाँ, Bahmani also will come. Why not? That is also the Sultanate period. In fact, Bahmani was also the Sultanate part only. Vijayanagar, I would not मतलब trespass into Vijayanagar because Sultanate is period कहना मतलब एक type है, ठीक है? But then I would not say कि Vijayanagar was the part of the Sultanate, ठीक है? See, Sultanate period, we will say that only the areas where the Sultanate is there, and the offshoots of the Sultanate is there. Vijayanagar kingdom period अगर जो उसमें लिखा हो additionally, तभी मैं उसमें trespass करूँगा. मैं ऐसे नहीं करूँगा, ठीक है? तो और नहीं करूँगा क्योंकि विजयनगर किंगडम यू आर कंसिडरिंग ना कि जैसे हम कंसिडर कर लेते हैं कि गुप्ता पीरियड अप्लाइज टू वकाटका ऑल्सो. देयर वाज अ मैट्रिमोनियल अलायंस बिटवीन द टू and they have accepted the supremacy of the Guptas. Then, but Vijayanagar did not accept the supremacy of the Tughlaqs. Okay? So that way we will not consider them as a period that was itself a altogether different glorious period. Fine? So, चलिए last paper पे 2022 सिविल सर्विसेज मेंस 2022. सो 2022 के क्वेश्चन भी बड़े इंटरेस्टिंग थे. So how will you explain that the medieval temple sculptures represent the social life of those days? Then, so इसमें this is also 15 marker, 250 work, and इसमें लिखने के लिए बहुत कुछ है, ठीक है? See that you just needed to see one temple image with close look, ठीक है? किसी भी मतलब अगर जो मतलब एक पॉपुलर नॉर्थ इंडियन टेम्पल और एक पॉपुलर साउथ इंडियन टेम्पल देख लो, बृहदेश्वरा एक तरफ देख लो, मादुरई तंजौर का फोटो देख लो, और दूसरी तरफ इधर में, ठीक है, इन नॉर्थ इंडिया, लुक एट द काशी विश्वनाथ, लुक एट द केदारनाथ, लुक एट द मेनी अदर पॉपुलर टेम्पल्स आर देयर. सो कोई भी ज्योतिर्लिंग का टेम्पल देख लो, एंड देन आफ्टर यू कैन आंसर दिस क्वेश्चन, ठीक है? सो अब देखो इसमें, so how will you explain the medieval temple sculpture represents social life of those? So medieval temple sculpture पूछा है, temple का architecture नहीं पूछा है, first of all. So you don't need to write about the Nagar, tower, शिखर, विमान, इसका description नहीं देना है, ठीक है? What you need to write that what all sculptures are there. So sculptures में, so I have classified it like this, ठीक है? Depiction of the daily activities, then the farming, hunting, cattle rearing, spinning, cooking, ठीक है? Almost everything is depicted. एक last में I have kept a chart that on which temples these are depicted. ठीक है? Then, so representation of the social hierarchy like royalty, nobles, ठीक है, priest, social stratification also. So social stratification, how it is visible that कहीं पे king बैठे हुए हैं, ठीक है? Kings are there. Then kings are there on the seats and the queens are there on the crown, that particular seat, but then somebody is that's sitting on the ground. Then, so that also is a depiction of the social hierarchy. Then, that there is a king and there are the servants of the king. That some people are fanning some sort of chauri, ठीक है, from the backside. That is also the depiction of the social hierarchy, that these are the people who are servant. Then, priest who are doing the yajna ritual, yagya, then, so that is also depiction of the social hierarchy, or so as that social class. Then apart from it, coming to this, that women in society, so yakshinis and madanikas, then yakshinis you have studied that n number of the ways yakshinis have been depicted not only on the temples but also on the stupas. But यहाँ पे हमें stupa नहीं mention करना है, we are only mentioning the temples. Then, so on temple yakshinis are mentioned, they are considered as the folk god and goddess. In South India, particularly in Karnataka, yakshinis are called as madanikas. Then, so madanikas are, they have the graceful gesture, then dancing postures are there, very beautiful, iconography is too good. Then, so dancers are depicted, then women are depicted as dancers, musicians, even warriors. So if it comes to the situation of the warriors, particularly in the Vijayanagar temples, many a places women have been depicted as the warriors. In Kakatiya temples, then, so depiction of the Rudrama Devi, Rani Rudrama Devi, depiction of her as a warrior. So these depictions are there on those temples. Then ornaments, costumes and the graceful postures. Celebration of culture. So Chidambaram temple of Tamil Nadu, okay? Then Nataraj temple of the Tamil Nadu, they depict the Bharatnatyam. Then some of the temples in the Odisha you will find that there is a depiction of the Odissi dance form also. Then different festivals are depicted, musical instruments like veena is very often depicted on the temple art. Then religious and social rituals, marriage ceremonies, temple rituals, tantric practices. Tantric practices, have I taught in the classes? Yes. Odisha temples, okay? If you remember, so Konark temple is considered to be one of the very important place of the tantric practices, so as the Khajuraho. And in tantric practices, what they do depict? That they depict the human intercourse also, okay? That is one of the representation of the tantric practices. I have told you the logic in the class that that is the combination of the male and the female energies, then, and that energy is utilized for the tantric gratification. What you call yin and yang energy in the East Asian cultures is the Stree and the Purush energy in the Indian culture. Then, so tantric practices are also depicted. Then depiction of warfare and hunting. Now, better समझ में आएगा इस list से. So now you can have a look at it. So इसमें देखो that Khajuraho temple, Madhya Pradesh, erotic sculptures are there, and erotic sculptures are depictive of the Purusharth, Dharma, Artha, Kama. So every Indian is entitled or every human being is entitled to the physical pleasures also, which is the part of the Hindu Purusharth. Then, so that is depicted over there. Musicians, dancers, domestic life. But इससे एक और चीज़ हम बोल सकते हैं कि depiction of the sexuality, ठीक है, open sexuality, meaning that it is very much accepted in the societal order. That sexuality, ठीक है, it's not an obscene thing. It was not an obscene thing in society, which has become in later ages, but not in those days. Then सन टेम्पल, कोणार्क, रॉयल प्रोसेशन, कोर्ट सीन्स, डांसर्स, एनिमल्स, ठीक है. फिर उसके अलावा दैट एनिमल्स में यहाँ पे सूरज के साथ घोड़े, ठीक है, आई होप यू हैव हर्ड अबाउट इट, 7 हॉर्सेस. देन टाइम व्हील, ठीक है, दैट इज ऑल्सो डिपिक्टेड. देन होयसलेश्वर टेम्पल ऑफ हालेबिडू. सो दिस इज सीन ऑफ डेली लाइफ, महाभारत, रामायण, पुराणास. इसमें आंसर्स में कहीं लिखा नहीं है, उसको ऐड करना, जरूर ऐड करना. रामायण, महाभारत, पुराणास. Entire Hindu mythology is depicted on the walls of the temples, and the best example of the Hoysaleshwar temple, Halabidu. Then, so पूरा का पूरा एक पैनल पे महाभारत है, एक पैनल पे रामायण है, दूसरे पैनल पे कुछ कुछ पुराणास हैं. एंड देर आर टोटल 8 फ्रीजेस. फ्रीजेस का मतलब कि ये एक फ्रीज हो गया, ये सेकेंड फ्रीज हो गया. सो 8 फ्रीजेस आर देयर इन द Hoysaleshwar temple. Then, so depiction of it. Then Brihadeshwar temple, military scenes, court life, ठीक है, temple rituals. So almost every aspect of the life has been touched by the temple sculptures of that time. But understand, in these type of question, any writing becomes relevant when you write the example. बिना example के इसमें नंबर अच्छा नहीं मिलेगा, ठीक है. तो when you are writing, कि जैसे मैंने तांत्रिक प्रैक्टिस बोला, तो लिखो कौन से मंदिर में है, ठीक है. महाभारत रामायण कहा तो लिखो कौन से मंदिर में है, ठीक है. Then Yakshinis, Madanikas, in which temples are there. Then, so this way, when you are writing it with the examples, that makes that creates some sort of relevance of the answer. Then, so that's part. Then, coming to the next one, discuss the main contributions of the Gupta period and Chola period to Indian heritage and culture. फिर से Chola, ठीक है. So 3 साल में 2 बार चोला, 3 बार चोला, ठीक है, 2 बार मेंस में एंड 2 बार प्रीलिम्स में, 4 बार चोला, ठीक है. सो दिस ईयर 2 क्वेश्चंस वेर फ्रॉम चोला. सो कंट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ गुप्ता पीरियड, बहुत सिंपल एंड स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड क्वेश्चन है. गुप्ता पीरियड एक बार लिखो और एक बार चोला पीरियड लिखो, दोनों का कंट्रीब्यूशन. एंड introduction and conclusions, you will have to create that what ways you will be writing. So contribution of Gupta period. अब मैंने स्टार्ट किया है लैंग्वेज एंड लिटरेचर से, ठीक है. सो लैंग्वेज में विच लैंग्वेज मेजरली डेवलप ड्यूरिंग द गुप्ता पीरियड? संस्कृत. ऑब्वियसली इट वाज संस्कृत, ठीक है. सो पाली एंड प्राकृत यूज्ड टू बी देयर, बट इट इज संस्कृत विच हैज गेन्ड मोर प्रोमिनेंस. देन फिर उसके बाद देन लिटरेचर में व्हाट ऑल लिटरेचर? हाँ, सो first I have mentioned about the Puranas. Majority of the Puranas were 18 Puranas, 18 of Puranas are there, and Puranas hold a very important position in the Hindu life, ठीक है. So majority of the Puranas were compiled at this time. Bhagavad Gita was separated at this time, and Mahabharata and Ramayana, which existed in the recensions and the Shruti tradition, now it was compiled also. Then उसके अलावा Smriti literature, then grammar, drama and poetry. Grammar में महाभाष्य, ठीक है, अष्टाध्यायी. Then Amar Simha's Amar Kos. Then so these you can write. Drama में कालिदास, अभिज्ञान शाकुंतलम, मालविका अग्निमित्र, रघुवंशम, ठीक है, कुमार संभवम, whatever you can think of. एक दो नाम भी अगर जो याद आ जाए लिख दो, ठीक है, आगे बढ़ जाओ. शूद्रक, मृच्छकटिका. Then poetry, मेघदूतम, ऋतु संहार. So this way that some of this you write that there was a heuristic development of the Sanskrit language and literature at this time, ठीक है. Then coming to the science and mathematics, then so Aryabhatta, he is the one we all know, ठीक है. मुझे लगता है सबको पता है कि he calculated the exact value of the pi, ठीक है. So then moreover he is also the one who predicted that earth rotates on its axis. अब एक information जो पिछले 20 साल में change हुआ है, पहले आर्यभट्ट को attributed था, now it is no more. What is it? Some of the NCERT books till 1979 they mentioned that Aryabhatta invented zero, which is incorrect. Now it is proven that it was the Brahmagupta who invented zero, and zero is considered as one of the most advanced invention of the mathematical aspect. Then so now then उसके अलावा decimal system, metallurgy, ठीक है, many developments have happened. Then art and architecture. So Nagar temple, then so Nagara style of temple. You already know few words you can mention about the Nagara temple. Development of the Sikhar, Garbhagriha, ठीक है. So Garbhagriha, Sikhar, and then some other features also. एक दो feature और डाल दो. That is basically generally in the beginning it was created on the banks of the temples. ठीक है. River tank, water tank नहीं होता है. तो something few aspects you can mention. Then Sarnath sculpture. So even till this date, this is one of the very famous iconography of India. That is Sarnath style. आज के time पे भी कहीं पे भी जो Buddhist चीजें बनती हैं, ठीक है. तो Sarnath sculpture is more preferred then. And Sarnath sculpture was created in the pink sandstone. Then, so you can mention about it. Cave making reached its climax during Gupta period. Ajanta, Ellora, ठीक है. Ellora तो नहीं, but Ajanta, Bagh caves. Then, so they have reached their climax during the Gupta. And frescoes, ठीक है. So in Ajanta, the fresco mural painting started during the Gupta age itself. Then, so fresco mural paintings of Ajanta are considered as the mother of the Indian paintings. So that is one development, contribution of the Gupta period. Religion and philosophy. Hinduism becoming more prominent, but what is to be noted that though the Hinduism became more prominent with the temple construction, but Buddhism and Jainism were not neglected. They were still supported. So इसमें एक example दे रहा हूँ क्योंकि 2050 नहीं 250 word का है, तो you can write that Samudragupta, ठीक है, when asked by Sri Lankan ruler Meghvarman for assistance then in Bodh Gaya, he provided him land to create the Buddhist monastery and he also gave him the funding, ठीक है. So there was no intolerant attitude towards the other religion. So though Hinduism was gaining prominence, but other religions were also given space then. So that is one part. And religion, philosophy में क्या आएगा? ये interesting है. Can you tell some of the philosophies which fully developed at this time? Which all philosophies? उत्तर मीमांसा, ठीक है. पूर्व मीमांसा will be after Guptas, ठीक है. Little bit after the Guptas, but उसके पहले के सारे हैं, ठीक है. So early Samkhya was not there in the Gupta period, but later Samkhya से start करके. So later Samkhya philosophy, then so as Yoga development. Yoga started from the Sunga period, but major development has also happened during this period. Then Nyaya and Vaiseshika were majorly developed at this time. Then so that is the philosophical development in this period. Then local self-government. इसमें I will little differ. इसमें मुझे आगे कुछ और लिखना था, मुझसे लग रहा है कि छूट गया, ठीक है. So Gupta's rule was a bit decentralized nature, ठीक है. And decentralized nature, it has led to the development of the feudal lords. Then, so that I needed to write over here. So feudal lords. Then educational centers like Nalanda and Takshashila. Kumargupta was the founder of the Nalanda, but then उसके पहले से exist करता था Takshashila, and Takshashila still was flourishing at the time of the Guptas. Then so educational centers like that. Let's come to the Cholas, ठीक है. Contribution of the Chola period. So in contribution of the Chola period, ठीक है, architecture में grand Dravidian temple like Brihadeshwara, Tanjore, already I have given you, उस क्वेश्चन में हमने डिस्कशन कर लिया है. Elaborate carvings on the temples like different that motif, specimen, ठीक है, images from the Hindu gods, goddess, Hindu mythology, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Hindu pantheon. Then bronze sculpture of Nataraj, already we have discussed, you can mention it. Literature and language में Tamil literature, particularly the devotional hymns of the Alvars and Nayanars. So what was the devotional hymn of the Alvars? Prabandham and Prabandha Kavyam, and Nayanars ka Tevaram and Tevakrams. Then so those were written at this time. Then commentaries in Sanskrit on epics. Then so like epics में रामायण महाभारत ये जो भी हैं तो उस पे commentaries लिखे थे उस time पे. Bhakti movement and popularization of the Vaishnavism and Saivism. So Bhakti movement over here, what we can add further, that Bhakti movement is giving more emphasis to devotional aspect, devotion, rather than sacrificial rituals. Then so it is also leading to the decrement in the animal sacrificial things. Then so Bhakti movement, Alvars and Nayanars, they are the one who are promoting it. Then maritime prowess leading to the trade and cultural exchange, already we have discussed, where with the Malay Peninsula, okay, with China. Then लास्ट कल वाली क्लास में भी डिस्कशन किया था थोड़ा बहुत, ठीक है. तो दैट विथ चाइना, दैट नॉट ओनली राजा चोला, राजेंद्र चोला was the big name, ठीक है. So these all has happened, and strong local self-government. So one thing which is very popular, very known thing about the mainline Chola is that provincial administration, ठीक है, and local self-government used to be powerful in those time. So what was the division? Mandalam, ठीक है, that first सबसे पहले Chola Mandalam divided into Mandalam divided into Nadu, ठीक है, नहीं, Mandalam divided into Vallanadu into Nadu into Kuttam into Ura, ठीक है. So Ur was the smallest self-governing institution then. So local self-government was very strong in those days, and they are said to be the first people or first rulers of India who has given emphasis to the local self-government. Then I have added a comparative chart also of both. So Gupta period timeline you can mention, ठीक है, इसमें से इंट्रोडक्शन के लिए भी निकाल सकते हो टाइमलाइन के वाइज. देन 4th-6th century AD एंड 9th to 13th century. देन आर्ट एंड आर्किटेक्चर में व्हाट ऑल थिंग्स आर देयर, लिटरेचर में, साइंस में, रिलीजन में, एंड सो एज इन द गवर्नेंस. देन सो दिस वे. अच्छा, आई वुड से दिस थिंग, व्हेन दिस ईयर यू आर गोइंग टू राइट मेंस, इन द लास्ट you can, if you have time, you can go with this method. मतलब in some questions you can go with this method. I think it will मतलब give more highlight to your answers then. So इसलिए मैंने एक दो क्वेश्चन में करके देखा है कि तुम्हें कैसा लग रहा है, तुम एक बार ट्राई करके देखना, ठीक है. पर्टिकुलरली मैं तो, मेरे पास ऐसी कॉपी आएगी तो मैं तो नंबर दूंगा, बट मेरे पास तो आनी नहीं है. सो बट देन इट्स गुड वे, ठीक है, यू कैन डू दैट. एंड लेट्स कम टू द लास्ट क्वेश्चन. Discuss the significance of the lion and bull figures in Indian mythology, art and architecture. ये भी 15 नंबर है, 250 वर्ड्स. सो 2022 में टोटल 45 नंबर के क्वेश्चन थे, ठीक है. सो 2022 45 मार्क्स फ्रॉम कल्चर, 23 40 मार्क्स एंड 24 40 मार्क्स, ठीक है. नाउ सो दो ही only two animals they have asked, lion and bull. Then let's start with the lion. So, is lion depicted in the Indus Valley seals? No. Tiger is depicted, not the lion. So, we'll not start with the lion, we'll not start with Indus Valley. So, now when it comes to the significance of the lion, so it is the symbol of power and royalty, but then let's come to the example wise. So, it is Vahan or vehicle of the goddess Durga, okay? The one which we were discussing earlier also. And then, नरसिम्हा लिखना था मुझे, नटसिम्हा हो गया. तो नरसिम्हा अवतार ऑफ लॉर्ड विष्णु इज डिपिक्शन ऑफ द हाफ लॉयन एंड हाफ ह्यूमन बीइंग, ठीक है. सो नरसिम्हा अवतार. देन मौर्यन लायन कैपिटल, सिंबल ऑफ पावर, कहाँ पे है, लौरिया नंदनगढ़. देन सारनाथ पिलर. देन सो दीज टू प्लेसेस. सो मौर्यन लायन कैपिटल, सिंबल ऑफ पावर, प्रोटेक्शन, सोवरेनिटी एंड स्प्रेड ऑफ धर्मा. सो वन वर्ड विच आई वुड लाइक टू एम्फेसाइज द मीनिंग ऑफ द लायन इज सोवरेनिटी, ठीक है. Sovereignty, that lions roar, Simhanad, ठीक है. So Simhanad is the roar of the sovereignty. And understand that if you get a question, अभी जब नया पार्लियामेंट इनॉग्रेट हुआ है तो उसके सामने एक बहुत ही मतलब ना थोड़ा सा इनवोकिंग, प्रोवोकिंग टाइप सा लायन स्कल्पचर है. इट्स नॉट प्रोवोकिंग, it's the Simhanad, ठीक है. And this Simhanad is actually reflected in the India's policy, foreign policy, that nobody can meddle with us, ठीक है, and stay away from us. You cannot touch our sovereignty. Then, so that's what is the real meaning. That कि बहुत सारी controversy भी चल रही थी कि अरे पुराना वाला खराब करके नया कुछ ज़्यादा ही बड़ा रोर बना दिया. So that's the rise of India, where you cannot touch, you cannot interfere in our sovereignty. इस part को अगर जो आता है कभी किसी year question जरूर लिखना, ठीक है. So now coming to the next part, सिंहद्वारास in temples. बहुत जगह जाओगे, साउथ इंडिया में जितने जाओगे हर टेम्पल में एक सिंहद्वार होता है, ठीक है. तो सिंहद्वार इज अ मोस्ट प्रोटेक्टेड द्वार. इट इज सेड दैट माइथोलॉजिकल वाइज भी कि ऐसा बोला जाता है कि सिंहद्वार से अगर जो लाइफ में कुछ थ्रेट चल रहा है, मतलब यू आर सो फेयरफुल, सो प्रीस्ट एडवाइज यू कि एंटर फ्रॉम द सिंहद्वार, ठीक है. सो सम सॉर्ट ऑफ मतलब माइथोलॉजी वाइज दैट प्रोटेक्शन कम्स टू यू. देन Mystic Loins of Hoysala Temple. There is a story behind it. I have created a shorts of it on Culture Quantum. देख लेना उसको. That story is related to the naming Hoysala. कि कैसे Hoysalas came to be known, that डायनेस्टी का नाम होयसला कैसे पड़ा. Then so depiction of the lion. Then in Buddhism, lion represents Simhanad, lion's roar, denoting profound and far-reaching impact. It also represents Sakya clan of Buddha. ठीक है, तो Buddha's Sakya clan, Sakya once was represented through the symbol of the lion. Then so that is the symbol of it. ठीक है, अब ये पूछा है lion and bull in Indian mythology, art and architecture, तो इसमें मैं स्तूपा include करूँगा. ठीक है, इसमें everything I will include. I will include seals also, I will include stupa also, temples also. ठीक है, and pillars also. Then significance of the bull. So significance of the bull. Now, so in Hindu mythology, bull is Nandi. ठीक है, and Nandi is not only the Vahan of the Lord Shiva, but he is the ultimate symbol of the patience and endless wait. You will see that in any temple of the Lord Shiva, the Nandi would be created if the Lord Shiva's face is in this direction. So Nandi's face would be there in the Lord Shiva's direction. And why it is done so? That Nandi is the depiction of the endless wait of his Lord. Then he is not disturbed by anything. His devotion is pure, which cannot be broken. Then, so that is symbolism. Then apart from it, he represents strength also, patience, which I said, endless wait, and dharma also. Then fertility, agriculture, and economic prosperity. All of them are interconnected. So fertility, agriculture, and economic prosperity. That bull was the symbol of the agricultural plowing, okay? And agricultural plowing say agricultural fertility, and then agricultural fertility agar zyada hui to economic prosperity. Then, in fact, in culture classes, I think I must have told you, जिसने भी class में रहे हो, that there is one symbolism of it from the India's independence time also. That right from the inception of the Indian history, that you see that Indus Valley के seals में भी you will find the bull. ठीक है? Then bull you find not only at the time of the Mauryas but Kushanas also. Their coins have the symbols of the bull. So as the Guptas, they have symbols of the bull. In fact, during the Akbar's time also, that some of his coin do have the symbol of the bull. So bull was a continuous representation of the Indian culture throughout the history. Then, and the first symbol of the Congress party was also bull. When after independence, Congress started contesting election, till 1967, it was bull. Only then after they have changed. So I'll not go in much into it. That's the one part. Now, in art and architecture, Nandi statue facing towards, already we have mentioned, Indus Valley seal. Bull figures decorative element on the temple walls and gateways. There also it is created. And Mauryan pillar पे जो bull होता है, उसकी meaning है ascendancy, courage and stability. So what is ascendancy? Then ascendancy I'll tell you, ठीक है, with the astrology only. So ascendancy is that there is something in your lagna chart पता नहीं तुम्हें पता है नहीं, कुंडली तो पता है ना, तो कुंडली में 3 चीजें देखी जाती हैं, ठीक है, that सूर्य लग्न, ठीक है, and चंद्र लग्न, and then your ascendant लग्न, ठीक है. तो what is ascendant? That this is the one which decides your career chart. If it is good, so then your career would be good. Then, so bull is symbol of ascendancy. So as in stock market, when market is performing good, so you called that market is bullish. That is ascendancy. Then, so somehow those symbols have been, and that is a common thing, not just in the Indian culture, but also in the Western culture. In Christianity also, they considered bull as a symbol of ascendancy. And so whenever a new initiatives were to be taken, so new initiatives were taken with the symbol of the bull. I'll give you one good example, that when Prince Henry the Navigator decided, Portugal decided to find the direct sea route to India and promote Christianity. So he took permission of the Pope from the Vatican City, and Pope gifted him that one statue of the bull for the success in the new initiative. So that's what is all about, that these all things from the art and culture part. Ab iske baad, this you can see that this is one such comparative part which I have created. So isme what that lion, that deities who are associated, Durga and Lord Narasimha, then Lord Shiva with bull, then it represents power, courage, kingship, strength, fertility, devotion, architectural role, and so as the national symbol. So national symbol, that Sarnath pillar, Sarnath lion, okay, 4 back-to-back lions. Then, So not as a national symbol, but deeply revered in religion. So this way also, whenever you have little crunch of time, इस तरह से भी कर लोगे, पूरा number मिलेगा, ठीक है? I don't think that they will cut the number. So this is what is about. So and I will be uploading, ठीक है? इसका photo खींच के ही करूँगा क्योंकि keynote नहीं जाएगा. तो in Telegram channel, this is the one. Many of you might be having, ठीक है? You can go with this one, ठीक है? तो now if you have any questions, you can ask. कुछ questions हो तो पूछ लो. Fine? See, कुछ templates मैंने beginning में किए, ठीक है? पता है, मतलब ये बात ना जैसे एक मैं बता दूँ किसी question का, but वो sufficient नहीं होगा. इसके लिए constant evaluation चाहिए. मैं सच बोलूँ तो एक जैसे मान ले तुमने कुछ लिखा, ठीक है? लिख के मुझे दिखाया. I have suggested something to you in that, ठीक है? उसके बेसिस पे तुमने improvise किया. तो it's a constant evaluation. It's not something कि एक कोई मतलब fix formula से हो जाए. But then उसका यही बोलूँगा कि keep it simple, ठीक है? क्योंकि 20 क्वेश्चन लिखने हैं तो जब हम बहुत कुछ सोचने लगते हैं बहुत अच्छा लिखने के लिए तो हम टाइम लॉस करते हैं. सो कीप इट सिंपल बट देन गुड इन लैंग्वेज, गुड इन इन्फो, नॉट बीटिंग अराउंड द बुश. देन तो वो नहीं होना चाहिए. तो और इंट्रोडक्शन और कंक्लूजन्स ज़रूर होने चाहिए आंसर में बिकॉज दैट इज़ द ऑल्सो डिपिक्शन ऑफ योर पर्सनॉलिटी. व्हेन लास्ट डे एक सेशन था कल हाउ टू मैक्सिमाइज स्कोर, उसमें भी हम लोग कुछ लोगों से डिस्कशन कर रहे थे कि when you don't write introduction and conclusion, so it is like that you are a personality without a lineage and without a legacy. ठीक है? Introduction you talk about the lineage and conclusion is the legacy. So this is what is the formula I would say. कि introduction would be the lineage and then conclusions would be the legacy. Art and culture में generally conclusion तुम्हारा legacy पे आ जाएगा. जो legacy आज तक चलती आ रही है उससे कुछ सोच के रखो. ठीक है? एनीथिंग एल्स? कुछ और पूछना हो तो बताओ, ठीक है? एंड सो आई होप दैट द सेशन इज गोइंग टू बी यूजफुल. अब इस तरह से अगर जो यूपीएससी क्वेश्चन पूछता रहा मेन से प्रीलिम्स में, प्रीलिम्स से मेंस में, तो यू जस्ट नीड टू बी लिटिल स्मार्ट, ठीक है? जस्ट कीप लुकिंग एट द PYQs ऑफ बोथ द सेक्शंस. इट विल बी हाईली हेल्पफुल. एटलीस्ट लास्ट 3 ईयर पेपर ऑफ द कल्चर, आई वुड नॉट से कि प्रीलिम्स का क्या टफ था, इजी था, वो मैं अपने उसको नहीं मैं कह रहा हूँ. बट कॉम्पेरेटिवली इस ईयर हिस्ट्री का सेक्शन सेवियर था, ठीक है? लास्ट ईयर हिस्ट्री आर्ट एंड कल्चर वॉज वेरी टफ एंड बट दिस ईयर इट वॉज कॉम्पेरेटिवली लिटिल बिट ईजियर. ठीक है? चलो, सो थैंक यू टू ऑल ऑफ यू. विश यू ऑल द बेस्ट एंड आई होप ऑल ऑफ यू आर राइटिंग मेन्स दिस ईयर. दोज हु हैव गिवन प्रीलिम्स एग्जाम at least. Fine?
The UPSC exam doesn't defeat you with difficulty. It defeats you with confusion, lack of clarity, lack of direction, and preparation that feels scattered. At Vision IAS Delhi, we rebuild your UPSC journey with structure, strategy, and support that doesn't waver. Get complete coverage of GSC, SAT, and essays step by step. PT 365 and Mains 365, so current affairs stop feeling like chaos. Personal mentorship, not just advice, but actual strategy guidance. Test feedback loops because growth begins where guesswork ends. Toppers didn't just prepare, they built the right foundation. Now it's your turn. This isn't just a course, it's where clarity, consistency, and confidence begin. The UPSC exam doesn't defeat you with difficulty. It defeats you with confusion, lack of clarity, lack of direction, and preparation that feels scattered. At Vision IAS Delhi, we rebuild your UPSC journey with structure, strategy, and support that doesn't waver. Get complete coverage of GSC, SAT, and essays step by step. PT 365 and Mains 365, so current affairs stop feeling like chaos. Personal mentorship, not just advice, but actual strategy guidance. Test feedback loops because growth begins where guesswork ends.
Toppers didn't just prepare, they built the right foundation. Now it's your turn. This isn't just a course, it's where clarity, consistency, and confidence begin.